This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I'm Cheney Crab.
I am Naveen Copperweiss.
Today on the podcast, we have Chance Strickland and Cam Dale. If you guys would like to pick up ENTHEOS merch, go to www, like this beautiful shirt that Naveen has on right now. Or hat. www.entheosstore.com. If you want one of these cups, go to KoperCrabb.bigcartel.com. As always, subscribe to us on YouTube if you're listening there. Subscribe on Spotify if you're listening there. We go live every Tuesday on Twitch at 7:30. Come and hang out. We're live right now.
7:30 Central.
Oh yeah, Central Standard Time.
Yeah.
So come and hang out. It's fun. People ask questions. It's tight. But yeah, so welcome to Nashville, guys.
I know. Welcome, you guys.
Yeah, you guys are like the newest people who have moved to Nashville. I know you were hanging out in Tennessee. Where does your sister live again, Chance?
Knoxville.
Okay, so you were living in Knoxville for how long before you came here?
For about a year.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Time flies, dude. And before that, California.
Yep.
And we should mention Chance has been on the podcast before. He is one of the original founding members of Arkaik, and he was on with Jared, and we met Chance probably, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it's been like way longer than that at this
I feel
point.
like three.
Yeah.
You're probably 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just hit it off, became great pals. He DJ'd my sister's wedding. And
I don't know if we've ever talked about that on here, that you DJ'd his sister's
and
wedding.
MC'd.
And he MC'd.
Ceremony.
Yeah, he killed it. Had a great radio voice. And we've just been really good friends. And when we kind of moved out here around the same time. But Chance has just now moved from Knoxville to Nashville area.
Nashville proper.
And so we wanted to get him on here and talk about him. And that's how we met Cameren.
I'm here in the nasty as well.
There you go. And Cameren is Chance's musical counterpart. Would that be fair to say?
I am his muse, his fire, his flame.
Yeah.
Thus the red beard. His beard only is red when he's got good ideas.
That's
When they're bad, it falls off.
Sparking right now. I'm on fire.
yeah. Right now he's killing it. So they make music together, and we wanted to talk to you guys about all that stuff, and just have you guys on again to shoot the shit and have a good time.
Yeah, so was it always the plan to move to Nashville? That was the thing.
I mean, it was the plan to kind of come out here when we kind of first decided to get out of California. We were like, oh, let's go back east. So we had a few ideas. It was either going to be Nashville, Asheville, or possibly Knoxville. Like those were like our three.
Yeah, I was like Omaha all day, man. But he wasn't feeling Nebraska.
I mean,
Omaha's
311 already blew up that spot. You know, we can't do what 311 already didn't do. So
I was like,
That's true.
Some creepy park in Baltimore, maybe. And Nashville it is.
Chance actually is taking credit for us moving here, actually.
Yes, I have.
That's true.
I've said that a few times.
He's saying that he put the bug in our ear to move here.
I did.
I'm sure that was definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like after your sister's wedding, when we were taking the van and you were going to drop me off at the car by the beach while we were leaving the mansion, we were talking.
All that did happen.
Yeah, it's true. We were just talking about California's getting weird. Like if we had to flee, where would you go?
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and you had said some places you were thinking maybe like Montana or like somewhere.
Montana?
I might have said Utah.
Utah, yeah, you said
I
somewhere.
like Utah.
That was never even an option.
But I swear to God, to the best of my recollection, I was like, Tennessee's dope. I just visited my sister, and it's like super normal there.
Yeah.
And Nashville's badass because it's got a cool music scene. There's a metal scene there. Like Artisan Era is based out of there. And so I felt like I may have put a little teensy seed in your mind gardens that blossomed into the fruit of you guys existing here now.
I'll take it.
I won't take all the credit, but maybe a teensy little bit.
I'll take it.
Well, when did your sister move here?
My sister's been in Knoxville for like 25 years.
Why did she move here?
Because the company that my brother-in-law works for makes all the props for all of the Mastercraft boats and stuff. And so Mastercraft is huge. I think they moved to Tennessee sometime in the late 90s. And so the company that my brother-in-law works for was like, we're getting out of Northern California. We're moving to Tennessee. If you want to keep your job, then come out. And so they moved to out to the Knoxville area in like 97 or something.
Oh, damn.
And so my sister's been working on trying to get everybody out to Tennessee for a long time.
I guess it's finally working.
Took her 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
did.
it's finally working. I mean, it's like you
by the
moved here.
scores.
Now yeah, I know. Several people have moved here. Guys from Fallujah just moved here. It's like it's becoming a huge hot point for people to live.
It's full. Tennessee's full.
It's full. Don't
Tennessee's
move here
full.
anymore.
We're here first.
Yeah. What's funny is I was actually hanging with a guy who works at Evans Drumheads or whatever. So he's in the music industry. And he was saying all of his friends who I don't even know moved here.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, all my friends are texting me like, you got to move here, man. You got to move to Nashville.
I mean, it makes sense. It reminds me, it's got like all of the good parts of California.
He's from LA, by the way.
Yeah, it's got all of the good parts of California, but it's mixed with, I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. It's mixed with like the Midwestern.
I think it's got all,
Thing.
it's got like,
Yeah. And a little bit of that southern tinge, that southern hospitality.
Totally
Of course.
that as well. But it's, it's like LA with manners, which there are a bunch of aspects of California that I really like, but one of them that I don't like is that people aren't, quite as kind. It's just a different personality. People from California have a different personality. Obviously, you're from there as well, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
All of you guys are from there. You're great people. They're just, do you feel that as well?
Yeah, well, so when I was I grew up in Southern California, so we were always messing with LA and San Diego trying to do our thing, and LA is like very, very competitive. It's like in LA, they're like, I'm doing it, oh, you're doing it too? Fuck you, because I'm doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
And then so when I got up to the Bay Area, it was a lot more open source. I thought the Bay Area was kind of a breath of fresh air. It was like, you're doing it, well, I'm doing it too, so let's throw a festival. You know what I mean? It was very much open source, kind of Burning Man, like, oh, we can throw festivals, yada, yada. So I thought that NorCal was a breath of fresh air. But then coming out here, it's even like better. Like everyone's way more nicer. There's not a lot of the California shit. I mean, a little bit, there is the kind of like, I'm doing the coolest thing ever, a little bit, but like 90% of the people are super dope. Everyone's really nice and friendly. It's like a cool part of the country that all the transplants come from that don't have like a weird West Coast kind of thing. You know what I mean?
A lot of Indiana and Illinois out here too.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Definitely.
To the whole Midwest, I feel like this is the place to go. I mean, my family did not visit me when I lived in California. I lived there for 12 years. My mom only came out at the end of me living there. And here, my family's already been here two times. We've been here for 2 years. It's just
She loves
more
you
of
now.
She loves me. She loves me more now. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think something about living in California that you don't really realize if you grew up there is that it's kind of isolated from the rest of the country.
Yeah.
It's
true.
like super just far away.
And you don't have to
it's
leave
got
it
its
to
own
go all
smell.
kinds of places.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
just never really noticed that. Like when I first started hanging out with Cheney, she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to a show in Omaha," and I was like, "Wow, they're gonna go to like another state."
Yeah,
to go
you
to a
never do
show.
that in California. I mean, it's impossible because you have to drive like 6. I mean, how far do you have to drive from where you're from to get out of the state of California? 4 hours, maybe?
From San El?
Where?
Or from San
From the
Diego?
Bay Area? I mean, like
No. From Southern California, like from
3 hours.
LA,
If
for
you want to
instance.
get to Vegas, it's like 3 hours.
Yeah, so you have to drive 3 hours, and then from Santa Cruz, you would have to drive what, like 4 hours to Tahoe?
Yeah, no,
So-
Tahoe's in California.
But like Reno.
Oh yeah, Reno, my bad.
But like
North
Same
Lake
shit.
Tahoe's Nevada.
But yeah,
But
it's
like,
like,
if you, what takes
Stand corrected,
you could
Sergeant.
you can go 8 hours in any direction in California and still be in California.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing. They don't need to leave. You
Whereas,
know?
whereas here, if you drive 8 hours, you're in Detroit,
Yeah.
which is sick because now we can drive. Like
We've
a
done
show-
that. We went to a show there. We went to a show in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's like now we travel more to do things, and that's for tour. It's like the best thing ever because a bunch of tours start around here, and we have to drive. We only have to drive 3 hours to get to a show in Atlanta. It doesn't take very long to do that. So it's like it's close to everything. It's convenient. It just rules here. The music scene is fucking off the chain. And you guys are in your band, Louder Rain. It's like, have you started playing shows yet? Are you?
Not yet. We're
Okay.
working on it, on our way.
Yeah. What kind of shows do you think that? I feel like you guys would do really well at dark matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think just because we want to play shows, it's just going to be us two and Ableton. But eventually, we want to have a full band, drums and bass.
The direction of where it's going, it seems like we need a full band. But I mean, we look at somebody like Crosses, who's absolutely killing it whenever they come out, and Chino and Sean just did a few shows on the West Coast. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe they did more than that, but it's just they were a duo. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I think ripping the duo would be really cool because it's more original, in my opinion.
yeah,
It's fun, but I mean, like all the new stuff that we're creating, like sounds like it's a band. Like
Yeah.
so we're gonna like have to have, and just the power that a band has. I don't know. We eventually want to be kind of like Pussifer. You know what I mean? Like being able to pull off all the electronic parts flawlessly, exactly like they sound, and then also being able to pull off the live band sound.
Yeah.
and a little bit of the Celtic women as well.
There you go.
Just
Totally.
Yeah. Just
You guys do
harmony.
you guys wear those, like when I see pictures of you guys online, it's like with costume. You guys wear
We're actually in the mix right now. I'm trying to design something. I've been seeking out some type of dashboard of some sort to actually like really imprint it on something. Right now I'm just using Figma, and we're coming up with.
What's Figma?
Well, Figma was actually used for like building like websites and applications, and it's kind of like an all-in-one hub for that. So when I used to like make applications and stuff for crypto companies, I was using Figma, and you don't need to do any code. The code's already there for you, the CSS and everything like that for all the front end. And I still use it for pretty much all their creative for Louder Rain. And
like to make the websites and stuff like that.
Yeah. With the website, I actually use Durable, which is hot. I'm gonna throw them out there. Durable.io, everyone. That was
.io.
.io. Yeah, that was really happy with how I was able to have full control of the website, to be able to make the website. I'm pretty happy with it. Save a chance.
It looks good.
Thanks.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to make some masks for us. There's a lot of inspiration out there. Daft Punk, especially. I mean, those guys. Everybody knows who Daft Punk is, pretty much, unless they lived under a rock, and they can still like go in the line with their coffee in hand at Kroger, and nobody's gonna recognize them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I like that
true.
anonymity, the lore that they created, and now you have like cool bands like Sleep Token and their lore, and I mean, there's a few other. What was that other band? Ghost.
Ghost.
We saw them here,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I mean, Guar, obviously.
Yeah, Guar. Ghost is incredible live.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I
Super
think
sick.
that we'll probably try to do the mask thing because it's just cool. It has a vibe live, especially.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, like he was saying, the mystique. It's just like, well, it would just come over as a presentation, probably pretty cool.
You know what I thought was cool? Do you guys know who Drab Majesty is? Okay, so we saw Drab Majesty live, and they dress up live, but they come out right before they play, and they're not dressed up, and they're their techs, but no one knows that it's them like setting everything up, and then they come out and they're dressed up. I thought that was so fucking awesome. Like, you do have that sense of you're anonymous. Like no one, they were in, this was like a room of 800 people. It was sold out and no one knew that was them. I mean, you know, if you know, you know, but
I mean, yes, but even like someone like Maynard and where he places himself with Tool live, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have no idea what he looks like.
could be,
You know?
could be.
Especially back in the 90s when like they didn't do interviews and he was just up there with the fake breasts and the face paint. Like,
Oh yeah.
probably
I didn't really
helped.
know what he looked like until recently.
I think it was probably like the late aughts before I knew what he looked like. Tool was an anonymous band to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
I mean,
when
the
they,
music videos.
you know, when they were like really blowing up when I was maybe in middle school and everyone was getting into them, no, I had no idea. Yeah, their music videos were not of them.
Claymation videos.
Yeah.
Those were like
Badass.
monumental.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
monumental.
they're amazing. I mean,
So
that's kind of
sick.
like, we definitely draw inspiration for that too. Like all our videos are kind of like, they're more like visual adventures that our songs are soundtracks to, you know? Like, I don't think we ever want to be that band where it's us in the video rocking out. Like, not that, you know, like that's dope, but I feel like
It's not dope. Let's be real here, dude. It
I think
sucks.
that it's
like, you mean you don't want to play in a well-lit warehouse?
Yeah, I know it's gotten.
That's like what we're always talking about, because our videos are us playing in a well-lit warehouse. I'm not gonna, pretend that it's not like that, but it's always like, how do we figure out how to like not do this? You know, and like there obviously is a cool way to do that. Duh, I'm joking, but yeah, I think figuring out how to make a music video something that people actually want to watch. I mean,
that I think is what is
hacking the system right there.
That's the difference between a music video that does well now and that doesn't do as well, is that there has to be some kind of a story. You know, people don't always just want that, like, you know, run it through the metal band thing and put out that video. People do want to see some kind of storyline, and I think that that's very cool, especially we can relate to you guys. We're a 2-piece band, so you're constantly having to like be creative and think of those things. 100%. Like we have guitars and drums, and it sounds like it's a full band on record. So what can you do to make this like seem cool and come across in a video setting? That's always a challenge.
Yeah, and we're thinking about that right now because we do want to get away from the like band in a warehouse.
I mean, maybe like a stepmom stuck in the dryer, or a pizza delivery. You know, like porno came up with some storylines that are a lot more creative than some of these music videos. You know, so
that's why those videos do so fucking well.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But then they also
for the storyline.
The storyline only gets them so far, but then the payoff is the slap. You know what I mean? So you gotta you get as far as the porno gets you.
Jim, all you can.
So how long have you guys been a band?
Since like 2019.
It was very inconsistent for a long time.
We just now started to like take it seriously. Like
we were moving in with each other.
And like moving across the state.
Take it from us. That is how you start to take it very seriously.
Yeah.
But Cameron's always been like traveling around and staying in South America and Europe and Colombia, and we've always stayed friends because we met a long time ago through our mutual friends. We were all in a band with Jared from Arkaik way back in the day, and that's how we all kind of met each other.
Wait, so are you from the same place that they're from? I don't know. What's the name of the fucking town that you guys
Canyon Lake?
Say that again?
Canyon Lake.
Canyon Lake. So you're from there?
No, originally I'm actually from Escondido.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I moved to Texas around 6 because my parents at the time were having some financial troubles, and my dad worked for Remax, I think it was. They moved him out. They gave him a bunch of options, and he took Dallas. And they did a great job raising us out there until about 15 or so. We moved back to California to be close to my grandmother, who passed away just recently, and she lived in Canyon Lake. So we moved to Canyon Lake too, and I was able to discover the filth and the beauty of a weird town behind gates.
He came into the odd fishbowl.
Yeah, it was a very odd place.
Yeah, California has a lot of weird towns, man.
That's very
Santa
true.
Cruz is one of them. It's just...
I think every place is a weird fishbowl, especially if you're not desensitized by growing up in it. You know, like a lot of times when you get out of the fishbowl, you look back at it and you go, "Oh wow, that like what a weird scene that was." But Cameron, like he came into it not having grown up in it and being desensitized, and getting there when you're 15 is probably a whole other experience.
Yeah, it was tough because like all those bros out there at the high school were they were just so mean to me until I came out with I did a poem in my English class, and it was just about like smoking weed and like losing my virginity, and like that was a hit. Everyone was just like, "Yo, you're the one that sits behind me. Yo, dude, that was sick."
That's what put you on the map.
So were they bros?
Texas.
Were they bros? Like, can I paint a picture of what I think a bro is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start from the ground up. Okay, so it's like skate shoes, some sort of wide skate shoe. And then
yes, maybe
Osiris.
Maybe a DVS,
Osiris, right? The big fat.
And then there's
Osiris.
going to be socks that are pulled up super high.
Yeah. What color?
Well, they're obviously white, and they have 2 stripes at the top that are
that's
red,
Huntington
black.
Beach.
Yeah. No.
Okay, well, this is Santa Cruz too, a little bit.
Okay, you give your. I'll stop interrupting you. You give your bro, and I'll tell you what the Riverside County SoCal bro
a type of a bro that is around in Santa Cruz. It's an old school bro. Then it's going to have baggy shorts that are probably of the Dickies variety. Then potentially a crew neck sweatshirt of, I don't know, the logo could be anything. And then a soul patch and a flat billed hat.
Okay.
and sunglasses on the back of his head.
Oh, I know that, bro.
What kind of sunglasses?
What color are the what color are the glasses, bro?
The glasses could range from probably Lokes. They're probably going to be black Lokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a Santa Cruz bro right there all day.
That's a Santa Cruz bro. Or like with when they got the flat bill and it's sort of like whoosh,
Yeah. Flip up.
flip up.
Or what's ultra like premium, bro, is I don't even know how they do this, but it's flat bill, flip up, but just like the last half inch is flipped up.
Yeah, I've
Not
seen
sure
that.
how they make that happen, but I mean,
It's from slamming their face into this the same brick wall over and over again.
it might be
to
a
make
class.
the voices stop.
It might be a class in high school in Santa Cruz. Actually.
Oh yeah, they replaced Auto Shop with bro bill bending.
Yeah.
Bro, Bill Benty.
So that's what I would picture.
Well,
of
so
bro.
where we grew up, we had our own special kind of bro that grew right out of the low desert dirt. So it's the motocross bro. So where we grew up was the
I got those too.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, please finish.
But yeah, it's not the greatest picture to paint. But so it's the motocross capital of the West Coast. Like freestyle motocross was totally invented where we grew up. All right, homie. So just take a step back and fucking chill, bro. All right. So like homies like Brian Deegan, Jerry McGrath, dude, like those fools, they were sick. And also everybody loves MMA fighting. So our bro is gonna have probably like the thick Osiris's, right, fool? Right? All right, and they're gonna have thick red laces, fool, because you don't know like if they're secretly racist or not, fool. And then they're gonna have similar baggy dickies, full, right? And they're gonna have socks pulled up high, but these socks, they're black, full. They're black socks, full. We don't wear no white socks, full. That's for the cholo, bro. But we're cool with them, dude. So the shirt that they're gonna be wearing is either gonna be like a motocross shirt, like a no fear shirt, right, homie? Yeah, no fear, or it's gonna be a sick like old school MMA brand, like tap out full, because you don't want to mess with me in the parking lot. I'll drop you, dude. Like that, bro. I'll be like, dink. You'll be like, sleep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, full. I'll put you to sleep, dude. It's chill though. You're chill for now. And then they'll have I'm kind of wearing one. They'll have a big flat billed hat.
Let's talk headwear.
But with their ears tucked in.
Yeah.
Ears.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe like that. And so it might be like an SRH hat, you know what I mean? Supporting radical habits full or stoners wreaking havoc, you know what I'm saying? And they're probably listening to Cottonmouth Kings or like Godsmack. And like I don't like the way your homeboy's looking at me. That fool got a problem? If that fool wants to squash, we can go outside in the parking lot. Nah, dude, I'm down to fucking throw. I'm throw hands with this fool, dude. Like, you think it's funny, homie? What's up, homie? Hey, what up, homie? No, for real, homie. What up, homie?
I'm actually getting kind of scared.
I know, I am too. I'm like,
They're very aggressive.
He's gone,
Yeah.
bro.
The reason why this is so
I'm gonna
funny-
stop that because Cameron's getting very uncomfortable.
I'm shaking in my bed.
Well, because he's getting flashbacks of the fucking.
Those guys were mean to me too.
Absolutely
tuna they threw
incredible,
at me.
by the way. Like,
None of those exist in Iowa.
yeah,
Isn't
I know.
that insane?
That's why it's so funny to me because this is like such a California.
It's such
thing.
a California.
Yeah.
Even the way they
Such a
talk.
California thing.
Even
Yeah,
the way they
yeah.
talk. Oh, and if they're not wearing a black shirt, they're wearing a. I mean, I kind of still rock this because it's in my blood. But they're wearing a flannel that's buttoned up all the way to the top.
Oh, yeah.
That's like maybe
Oh,
they're
with
going to a party.
sunglasses?
Oh,
yeah.
White
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Yes.
White white spies.
What are they called?
The spies. The white spies.
Or Lokes or the electrics.
I've never.
Oh
heard
yeah,
of that.
electrics, spies. Yeah, you don't know what
I
spies
don't know
are,
what
fool?
spies are.
Yeah,
Get the fuck
spies
outta
are
here.
the square kind of.
This bitch doesn't know shit, fool. I'm just kidding.
Okay, they're the square white ones. and I know those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the, and like
All right.
their logo's like a kind of like a cross, like a
Total. Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, absolutely amazing. I mean, this is Santa Cruz too.
Yeah.
Because that type of bro is also there.
Yeah.
The motocross.
That also
bro.
reminds me of Camarillo.
Where is that?
Camarillo is down by LA, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
On
That-
the beach.
Yeah, that's that whole like from San Diego all the way probably up to Santa Barbara,
Just
San
right
Luis
until
Obispo.
you're heading north, until you're hitting like the north.
Until you hit the Bay Area, then they
hella-
turn into to the Bay Area, bro.
Yeah. Well, see, Santa Cruz is. It's in a weird spot. It's kind of like it's not really Southern Cal. It has like hints of Southern California
Because of
and
the beach
also-
vibe.
Yeah.
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 So it's kind of when I started hanging out in San Francisco a lot, it was kind of like Santa Cruz wasn't really NorCal.
It didn't feel like it. There's not so
Yeah.
many people in Patagonia.
Yeah. Because like,
vests.
well, I think what we're talking about, I don't know if it even exists in San Francisco. I think it's kind of cut.
Cut off. Yeah.
Is there a,
there's a
San
hard-
Francisco bro?
There's this, there's like
They live
totally.
like in the Sunset area, so that might exist there. But I didn't grow up there, so I don't know.
yeah. I mean, there's hard asses in all parts of the Bay. They're just not as easily spottable because they don't peacock the same way the bros that we're used to.
Yeah.
But there's
like
fools
in this
that'll wreck
spectrum.
shop on a homie if you fucking look at them wrong.
Taken over by Tech Bros.
Yeah.
Tech bros.
Yeah, and they are nonviolent. They are very nonviolent.
Yeah, they're really not actually. The guy that just killed the other dude, was it Venmo or somebody? Like, I don't know. Maybe they had a relationship behind the founder of like some huge startup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just recently. They just
Harrison, you know about this?
dude, Harrison, can you pick that up?
I thought the guy who did Venmo
we do a Jamie real quick?
I thought the guy who did
Harrison,
Venmo
bring
was
up the
super,
nonviolent tech bro that actually was violent.
Yeah. I was
I
having
thought
like
the
a
guy behind
relationship with
Venmo
this
was
guy.
Brian Johnson, or the guy who's like super into longevity that we were talking about. The other night at the
Yeah,
party.
I'm
Is
mixing
that
this up
Venmo
from
guy?
our conversation the other night, but
Yeah.
it's just another guy with
Harrison
money.
has it.
We're gonna get to the bottom of it.
Oh, Cash App.
Cash App, sorry, yeah, close enough.
So what happened? What happened here?
Jamie, you can fact check me on all this. Sorry, Harrison. I was kidding.
Jerrison.
Jerrison, yeah.
Amy.
Hunter Douglas, if you can do blinds, possibly. Yeah, so
Wow, you know that.
Naveen gets that reference.
crazy.
That
Hunter
just
Douglas, they're
that just
everywhere.
hit him
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
in the heart.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah. How do you know what that is?
my dad and my uncle created like the Blind Brokers Network that people buy their franchises from to start blind businesses in America.
That's insane.
what?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Well, do you?
I
want
was like a drapery blind installer
Yeah,
for
that's what I heard.
20 years.
Really? 20 years? I
20
thought it was
years.
2 months.
No, 20 years.
You told me you just got the job out here. Okay.
No.
Okay.
He doesn't
years.
do it here.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I was my like first. Well, I worked for my dad,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I did it throughout my whole career until we moved here.
Really? Okay, yeah. I grew
So
up.
from 17 to 36 or whatever.
Nice, nice.
So maybe not. Quite.
Yeah, our mutual friend as well, he just started installing blinds and draperies as well. So this language, it's all coming back to me
Poor
again.
bastard.
Yeah.
It's actually Mason, whose older brother is Chris, who basically was the Petri dish in which Arkaik was formed. It's the craziest 7 layers of funnel cake on how we
Oh wow.
Kevin Bacon and met. Oh no! So when you were done at one of those blind jobs and you left, was that when the drapery falls?
Oh. I wonder if I ever
Opeth
listened to
reference.
that song in headphones while installing. I think it might have just hit too close to home. So it's just like I can't.
You're like,
I can't. Do it.
Opeth usually makes me cry, but not at work.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it makes me cry harder at work. Drapery falls.
Yeah. Definitely on the way to work. On the way to work, definitely listen to it for sure.
So you
Yeah, sorry, I like
fill
got us
me in
way
on
sidetracked
you. You
here.
moved to. I know you moved to South America. Like, what happened there? Why did you move? Like, what's your story, Cam?
Oof.
Tell me
I
your
was just
story.
a wanderer for
Yeah.
13 years.
Well,
So
Chance already explained what he was like when he was younger with the whole bro story.
That was
Yeah,
He was trying to bring that culture around the
by
world.
the bros.
How was I accepted by those guys? Oof. I don't know. I took a little bit of weed and some funny jokes, and everybody accepted me. So, I mean, I started traveling because I was like caretaking on some weed farms up in NorCal, and I was kind of like part of the whole Rainbow family and just kind of American gypsy
What's that?
hitchhiking.
Explain it.
Well, Rainbow Family is a family of living light, and back in 1972 was the return of the White Buffalo Woman, and this was a gathering that happened in northern Colorado. It might have been in Routt County. I don't remember. Fact check me, Hunter.
Hunter.
So-
I love that.
Anyways, this is spread across the world. There's, they pray for peace, especially for the United States. They have a regional gatherings, they have healing gatherings, and national gatherings that happen every year. And during the pinnacle of it is during the 4th of July weekend or weekday, depending on where it's at. But we pray for peace. And it's just a giant circle of people just oming, then celebrating life. There's a bunch of workshops there. It's always in like this beautiful meadow that you would never gone in the United States.
I think I went to one.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Is there a bunch of hippies there?
Yeah, because my dad briefly didn't install draperies for a while and ran like a vegetarian food company. And I believe we went to one of those to like distribute the food.
Oh, for
like,
free though, because nobody has.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all
It was
free,
like,
yeah.
hey, check out this thing we're doing.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you would have a better idea. There's
I was
there's
like
kitchens
really young,
and
12 or something.
So it's
There's
like a
kitchens
roaming group of like vagabonds that meet in different places in the world and like throw little impromptu like gatherings, festival-ish things, and it's like a culture and like a modern day kind of traveling group of like just hippie peace seekers and stuff.
But I mean, there's all
kinds of
different
people.
types out there, especially in the United States. You have a lot of troubled kids, a lot of homeless kids, schwillies. I mean, there's all sorts of funny jokes and slang terms in the rainbow culture.
But also
you
like
know.
super successful people that just like
Also,
love the
too.
culture and then come and like just
people that
chill.
are like, just visioneers, just, playmakers, you got all different types of people there, but because the rainbow family is everybody. So within a rainbow family, we're all rainbow family. Obama is a part of the rainbow family. His deceased chef was a part of the rainbow family. And I mean, just everybody. So it's eclectic, it's colorful with, people you would never even want
everyone's
to
accepted.
Yeah, you don't suit them as like this gypsy, dready rainbow kid, but the ideology of it all is to stand amongst with each other, and there's no judgment towards anybody. Now, whether or not everybody carries that goes to rainbow gatherings, I beg to differ. But I mean, it's a place for, a lot of, troubled people as well that will
Party
come
animals.
there, and they'll go there for a month because they have a free place to live and free food. I mean, maybe amongst all there's also, deep down inside, subconsciously, unconsciously, they're seeking. They need some healing, and that's a place that you can go to heal for sure. There's plenty of beautiful people out there, and it's spread across like wildfire across the whole world. There's rainbow gatherings all over the world.
So how did you find them? How did you find the rainbow family?
I think it all started probably trimming weed. Yeah,
Okay.
because a lot of people come around at the same time of the year from all over the world, and we're all hanging out at Mount Shasta. Or it started, I think I went to Mount Shasta because I was like high on the idea of like, oh, it's the root chakra of the world, and I went there and I felt very accepted there, and there was a healing gathering going on right before trim season started, and yada yada you. I was just enamored by everyone else. I was hitchhiking anyways. I just fit in really quick,
Yeah.
into the ideology, and then it took me a long time before I even had a cell phone. Like my relationship with phones is iconic, really. Like I can't seem to keep one, and even when I'm like set it out the intention, I'm like, I'm gonna keep you phone. Nope, I'll break it. Like it's impossible to have a nice phone for me, or even to have one at all. But yeah,
Not such a bad thing.
no, it's not.
No,
But like
it's
my relationship with it dates back to then when I didn't want to have any connection to anything.
Yeah.
And I felt, honestly, I was a lot healthier back then too. Like I'd go months to a year without drinking, and then I ended up getting to South America because somebody bet me at a trim season. They're all like, all right, let me flip a coin. I'm going to go to Europe or I'm going to go to Colombia, and I went to Colombia for the first time, fell in love with it, and just kept on going back to Latin America and Central America, and then made my way over to Europe and Africa. And yeah, it just becomes a bug, really. You don't want to get rid of it. I mean, it's just, I like discovering the unknown, as like other people like to do too. And I mean, you can, it took me a while to find out like how to heal. It was like an emotional roller coaster because I was just like on the edge of my heels, just wondering like, oh, I'm not planning anything. I'm just going to manifest or, whatever.
Yeah.
And, You know, back in the day when less people were like just cooped up with this little black box in front of their face, they would ask you questions when you just roll into their center with a backpack and be like, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? Where are you from? You know? And then I started to see that decrease, and the randomness and possibilities started to decrease too, because everybody was just occupied with their phones, you know, when they're just hanging out by a waterfall or a water fountain or something, you know? So
that happened to me recently in New York, because I went and played a show like by myself in New York. Kind of a weird circumstance, but my close friend who used to live there, he moved away, so I was kind of like, I don't really know who to hang out with. And then I do know that this one dude who I met up with, but he was busy for a while, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go out. And I went into a bar, a small like neighborhood bar, and I just sat down, and I was texting Cheney for a little bit. And then I was like, I'm just going to put my phone up and just sit here. And so kind of like people were either on their phone or hanging out. It was like a small, you know, like on a neighborhood bar, everybody kind of knows each other, you know. And I'm just like sitting there, and I was like buying drinks and literally just sitting there. Like, and then after, I'd say, because I wasn't going to meet up with my friend for a while, I was probably in there for like an hour. And then after like an hour, the bartender was just like, hey, are you like okay? Because I'm just like sitting there ordering drinks and just kind of like.
Just kind of chilling,
I'm
spacing.
just there, yeah. And I was kind of just like, I'm just going to see where this goes, you know? And it was my friend showed up, and then it was just like really fun, you know? And I was kind of like, see, I'm not a psycho. I have a friend. Kind of a vibe.
But you can't just sit around and space out anymore. Like,
yeah, I know.
No.
Like, why can't you do that? Like, I'm so good at it.
I know.
And
I don't know. That kind of feeling is so fun. You know, I remember when, like, anytime I'm in New York, I like doing that. Just kind of, just go see where it takes you.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think it is, to us, it's sad, I think, that people are less likely to do that now.
Well, yeah,
have
because
the
people
compass
won't
in
just go to any random place. They have to see if it's a 5-star rated place on Yelp
Yeah,
before
I know.
they'll walk
I know.
into it. And I just enjoy driving down the street and seeing a spot and thinking, wow, a bunch of people are there. I might as well go, or no one's there. Some of the most fun hangouts that I've ever had at bars are just random neighborhood bars, because everyone else is there every day. I'm not a regular. I'm not hanging out there every day, but you hear cool stories from those people, you know. I think it's important to be somewhat of to kind of disconnect a little bit and just pay attention to the world and experience things based on like what just actually looks cool when you're out walking around and experiencing the world.
Yeah, there's like that mystery. You know, you're walking by a place and you're like, ooh, that looks like cool. Like, it looks like a cool
I know,
little
I love
divey
that.
spot. Like,
Yeah.
what's it like inside, you know? And then you get in there and it smells like cigarettes and like a bunch of grizzled locals drooling on the bar. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, then some lady comes up to you and she's like, if you can get on Zillow before my son can, I'll give you $20. You know, and you get on Zillow and you're all like, all right, this is the house. It's $300K. What do you need with it? And here's your $20. You're just like, okay, yeah, thanks for the context.
That paid for my chicken sandwich with cockroach legs.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's one
mystery
of
is
the-
amazing.
yeah.
Mystery is one of the best parts of life.
but it's one of the parts that's been it's not been lost, but it is disappearing in a way, because now we can look at our phone and just see what's the coolest spot to go to, what's got the best food, where are the best drinks, where can I get this and that, and you can just be so specific with the things that you're seeking out and just go to that place and never visit so many of the other places. Like I see that every time we drive down a street in Nashville. It's like when I look restaurants up on Google, none of these places are popping up.
Yeah.
It's whoever's paying for the best ad, or, you know, whoever is paying for the most Yelp reviews or whatever. And it's interesting, because we are really the last generation that came from like having to do things analog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing
Yeah,
down
I
the.
was
We're
thinking
gonna, all right,
about
on
that.
Wednesday, we're going to meet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Even, you know, this probably is kind of still new school, but it's old school. Like writing down the directions on a piece of paper from
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
Maps and then having to follow them backwards to
Yeah.
get home.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm sure,
MapQuest.
yeah, MapQuest, that Cameren
yeah.
connected with,
Throwback.
that I've done in my teens a little bit of traveling, is also the people that you meet, like the personality type that is also down to travel. Is just cool, like hanging out at a hostel or like a place where there's a bunch
yeah.
of travelers. Like it's way different than kind of going down to the neighborhood bar, because you're gonna actually be able to go to a place and strike up a conversation with a bunch of random people, and it's not hard. You don't sit there for an hour like wondering like, I wonder if everyone thinks I'm weird. Like the people that you meet when you're traveling are just super dope and like
A lot more open.
They're open,
Totally.
outgoing.
Maybe just for that that trip.
Yeah.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, they're open.
I wish is that a thing in the U.S.? Like hostels are totally a thing elsewhere, and staying at hostels we've had some of the most interesting times ever. Staying at hostels, listening to other people. Everyone's kind of, it's a bunch of travelers who are like kind of drunk. Everyone's kind of mingling and stuff. Does
Cameron
that
stayed at some
exist?
U.S. hostels.
Yeah, have you?
Have I? Yeah, in New York though. I was quite surprised. There's none here in Nashville. And I was just like, this is a untapped market.
Yeah, like there's
especially all these
paradise.
Imagine like a hostel, and there's like practice rooms down, rehearsal rooms down there,
jam
maybe even a
spots,
studio, and it just brings a bunch of people that are like have this country dream or whatever to come to Nashville, and they got a place. They're like, they can rent out the room, for up to 2 weeks or so, just so like you can get the cockroaches out. The people that are like, all right, you're stinky, you're messy, and you're stealing people's food out of the community kitchen. You're
never gonna
they write their name on it. Like you got to go, right? But great guitar work. Something like that, because there was one, but it closed down when that suspicious Christmas explosion.
Oh, the
wink,
bomb.
wink, that
Yeah.
happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
there
it-
used to be one there, and apparently it defaced the front of it, and they closed it down, and it's never been open again.
I feel like Nashville could be a total like backpacker musician,
Totally could, yeah.
like hotspot destination. You know what I mean? Like
It's just they need to fix the transit here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, I don't know.
Is there
Like
transit?
there's
is
city
there?
buses.
it exists.
Okay.
I haven't tried.
Weko?
Yeah, me
Have you
either.
seen
even
it?
know.
Those
I haven't
purple
s-
buses that say Weko.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Yeah, there's bus stations. Maybe in Old Hickory. Maybe
Yeah.
out here in Hendersonville. They don't
think
need
there
to
is.
ride
I don't
no
know.
don't need to ride no buses.
I think we should describe what is different about a hostel compared to a hotel for people
Yeah.
who have never stayed in one.
It's more commutative.
100%.
It's cheaper.
Kitchen.
It's like dormitory style, like
Yeah.
stacked bunk beds. You can fit like 4 to 6 people in like one room. So like if you're backpacking through Bangkok and you need a place to stay, for anywhere from $2 to $11 a night, you can have a little bunk bed in a room with like 6 beds. And there's always a community spot in the hostel area, usually a bar, and that's where everyone kind of just hangs out. So you come out of your room, you'll go and sightsee and do your thing and wherever you're at, and come back, and there's just dope people. That's a constant changing mishmash of rad traveler types that are hanging out, and there's just something special about. Maybe it's the trip, or maybe it's the personality type, or a little bit of both. But like when you're hanging out in those areas, it's just everyone's hanging out. You're constantly meeting new people. Everyone's super open, and it's just like a really fun atmosphere of just cool people, and it's easy to make friends. And yeah, everyone's just open. Like it's the exact opposite of like going out in America.
I was just
normally,
thinking it's like the festival version of it's like what a concert compared to a festival. It's like a hotel to a hostel.
Yeah, it's like a camping fest. Like you wake up next to like 5 people that you're going to see for the next 3 days. And then by day 3, you've probably had shots at the little hostel bar with them. And maybe you're like, what are you doing tonight? Oh, let's go out. And then you do the thing that they were doing, come back to the hostel. And then after day 4, they're like you're like best buds because you've been hanging out for the last 4 days. And then they're gone and you're gone. And then you're in a whole new place and you do it all over
Yeah,
again.
then you run into each
Absolutely.
other.
Yeah, then you
like
run
in a
into
whole
each
other
other,
place
yeah.
that you didn't even speak about.
There's also the flip side where someone that you're staying with in your hostel is crazy and you have to get away from them.
Yeah, I've definitely seen
Yep.
some weird stuff, or I've actually been the suspect in some weird stuff too as well.
What's the weirdest thing that you've seen in a
The
hostel?
weirdest thing.
Yeah. Or what's something weird you've
Gosh.
seen?
Oh wow, that's like a rotary. I don't know. There's so many weird things that you become desensitized to a lot of it, anyways.
It's like tour.
Yeah. I think mostly
Yeah.
the weird things we've seen in hostels is just like dealing with drunk people.
Yeah, drunk.
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Drunk people getting kicked out of hostels in the middle of the night and
Yeah.
screaming and like pounding on
Definitely.
doors.
Having to be on the bottom bunk when 2 people are hooking up loudly on the top.
Yeah, like 2 people having sex on the top or in the bathroom.
Well, when Cheney and I got a hostel in Germany, we like kind of balled out and got like it was like a hostel, but we had
Sweet.
like our own room.
Yeah.
And it was right next to the infamous, what's the name of that truck? The food truck.
Oh, Mustafa's.
Yeah, it was right next
Yeah.
to Mustafa's. Have you guys heard of that? It's the best donor
In Germany?
in
Yeah,
Berlin.
in Berlin, yeah.
What is Mustafa's?
It's like just
It's a donor
Turkish
spot.
donor kebab spot.
I mean,
But we tried to go when we were,
1,500 there.
I know, but Mustafa's,
so we tried to
Mustafa's
go.
has like an hour and a half line outside of it
Really?
every time. Yeah.
So
yeah.
this was a good 10 years ago, maybe more. And we would go there a bunch. There'd be a small line. But we went to Europe recently, and we're like, let's go. We're going to go back. And we took an Uber over there. And it was like line down the block, and we heard the people in front of us say, oh, it's like an hour and a half line. And we're like, we don't even have time for this.
Was it
Yeah,
good
no.
though?
It was good.
It's the best one I've ever
Might
had.
be overly hyped. Who knows?
Yeah.
Of course, because the placebo of those things, sometimes they're so hyped that they just taste better when you eat them.
So it's
Or
just
like
super
they're
hyped.
so
hungry
busy.
from traveling, you'll just like, oh.
Also, like at the same time, like you're so busy like that, like there's no time for quality anymore. You're just
Yeah.
trying to
Get
run it
something.
out. Get it
Very
out.
true.
Yeah.
You know, like there's this place in Napoli that it's just touted as the best pizza ever. It's a margarita, like big whoop.
Yeah.
And you wait in this long line, you get there, and you had expectations, and then you got the heartache.
Yeah. It's pizza.
Yeah, it was like, dude, this is nothing.
I get it.
It is pizza. I'm going to take that back to music. So do you think that the longer you work on something, the better that it's going to be? And the-
Absolutely not.
No, you can
Yeah.
completely
There we go. I agree with you.
I totally agree with that.
I agree with
100%.
that.
Yeah, some of the best
1000%.
stuff. I mean, you can. There is, I think, an art to like working on things in small doses and dialing it in to the point where you're happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's a give and take, but you can work on something to the point where you actually absolutely ruined it.
Oh, 100%. I think that that's like a thing that people sometimes can't get over. They'll be working on the same song for 5 years. And it's like, dude, you could have made 1,000 songs in the last 5 years, and you would be so much further right now with the new songs than you are with this song that you've been working on for so long.
And we've got better at just being like, oh, you know what, this song sucks. Let's just make a new one, and not. I find like in the beginning, people are like, oh, we got to see it through and like make sure it's sick. It's like, just fuck it, dude. Just scrap it and make another one. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's touting U2's new album that took him 12 years.
There we
Who
go.
cares?
Yeah.
Is that the one
whatever,
that they,
dude.
is
Do
that
the
the one that
sphere.
they put on everyone's iPhone a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I didn't.
That was so
not- I
long
did-
ago, Jamie.
I actually think that
was not a
worked
I did not
against
consent
them.
to that.
That was a horrible marketing tactic
I mean,
because
yeah.
then it just made
Backfired.
them more annoying to everyone. Like
Yeah.
really,
Then
you're
they
going,
got the Sphere. I don't know. They got into the Sphere and became the first band to play in the Sphere.
I
And
know, and it looked so incredible that I
Yeah.
finally wanted to go see a U2 concert.
Well,
for some
Fish
reason.
is there now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Fish is
really?
playing a bunch of shows for the next few months.
All right, are we flying to Vegas?
Harrison,
right
you're a
now?
Fish fan.
I'd love to go see him.
All right.
In the
Me
dome
too.
too.
Because like
That'd be
the
crazy.
guy who books at the Sphere, I guess he's also kind of like co-founder or whatever. I don't know who the production company is there, but I read an article about the U2 thing, and he's just like, honestly, we don't need U2 here. Like they're just another band, really. Like they're
It's like
just
the
here by
Sphere is bigger than
demand.
U2.
Wow.
But like just his words, you could tell like he's not a U2 fan,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're all like, and then he books Fish. You're like,
And you're like, okay.
It's like,
we know
we
you're
got
this kind
you.
of guy.
You know, it's funny. I was working for like a weed company in Santa Cruz, and bless his heart, the guy who owned the company, he wanted to base the whole promoting scheme around Fish. Because he loved Fish so much, he just wanted everything to be marketed around Fish.
See,
And I was just
if
like,
Very Santa Cruz company.
If that were
Super
like
Santa Cruz.
if that
But it
were
was not
basketball
named
sneakers, I'd
Fish.
say nah. But in the weed scene, I'd be like, that's you're not
I
getting out
know,
of
he
the
was
park.
probably
Like that's
probably on-
great
Some
marketing.
Fish
It was
Air Force
my-
Ones coming at you.
Like that's not going to sell floppy disks or hard drives, but that will sell some weed. I'm
That's
telling you.
So what's your guys' favorite like live production that you've ever seen? Speaking
I'm
of
sure we'll
sick live
probably all
production.
meet each other at the same place, and it's an obvious answer of Tool.
I've never
you know.
seen Tool live, but they're coming to Bridgestone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna
Really,
be
it's
cool
Tool?
because
That'd be cool.
Bridgestone's small
And
too.
Elder's
Yeah.
playing with them. Like that's gonna
really?
be,
It's
yeah.
gonna
be sick.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I would say Tool probably has one of the baddest productions I've ever seen. I saw Roger Waters do The Wall.
Oh, the one that was just a couple of years ago.
Oh, dude, no, it was probably like 10 years ago at this point.
Okay.
But you could have done that production in Vegas every single night. Like it was sick. Like all of the stage show was massive. Like it was at the Honda Center, and they used all of from the stage to the ceiling. They built the wall through the show, and then at points in the show, the bricks that were probably like as big as this table, right? They would be gone in like chunks, and there would be people playing in them. There would be stuff from the Wall movie going on, live action on the wall and stuff. And it had the quadraphonic sound, which I don't know what that is, but it literally sounded like when the helicopters, when all the sound design stuff's going on, it literally sounded like it was going around you. And then at the end of the show, they burst the wall all over the audience. And you're like, oh, what? And, and then it come to find out, like those giant bricks, they're like bouncing up like beach balls and stuff. It was one of the sickest things I've ever seen.
I've seen the
interactive.
It was like Cirque du Soleil level dope.
There's like a DVD. I've seen the DVD. I've never seen it in real life, but that almost reminds me of like what they do at Universal when you're on one of those interactive rides where you're. What was the ride that we did? Transformers. Yeah, where it's like you feel it's all like digital stuff, but you feel like you'll feel heat, you'll feel water coming at you. It's really interactive,
fully immersive. That's
super cool. I mean, not many people have the money to do that type of production, but Jesus Christ, imagine if if a Tool concert was like you were immersed in the experience. It was just a 3D surround thing. That would be so cool if more people could do that.
What about you guys?
I don't know. It was probably like when I was on acid at like a I don't know.
Like
dance,
best production?
EDM show.
Yeah.
Stage production.
Best stage production. The first one that comes to mind is fucking like, I don't know. I don't actually know.
Watain, dude.
I don't know. Watain was
the pig
sick.
heads and shit.
Watain was sick, but it was very, it's just like there's only a certain amount of stuff that's happening.
Sure.
I don't know. It was
I'm
like
not
maybe
really a sucker
maybe
for,
seeing Bass Nectar back in the day. Bass Nectar's setup was insane.
Oh yeah, he changed a lot of our
killed
lives.
it.
Yeah.
He broke my hymen in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bass
know?
Nectar's was pretty amazing. But
he
like
turned out
every
to be a
big
fraud.
EDM guy kind of has that kind of production.
That's the thing.
I
It's
feel
like,
like,
in EDM, it's like once you get to
baseline.
that point, it's baseline. You have to have that sick of production.
Yeah, I just saw Pretty Lights for 3 nights.
Oh, sick.
And I mean, he didn't touch me in a lot of ways.
Not like
He
Bass
probably
Nectar.
did yeah.
Oh my God.
But I was quite impressed because he had a full band, and I guess he's sober now, the Derek guy from Pretty Lights, and he's got a full band. They played 3 shows. They're all different. They're kind of, everybody's doing the same thing, and it all, I feel, originates back to the most iconic band in the world, and that's the Grateful Dead. Like the Grateful Dead did something that no other band could do. They were going, everyone was swimming against with the current. They were swimming against the current. They were like, everyone's like, okay, do these sweet jam songs and sign a record label and play all those songs at the live show. And Grateful Dead decided like every single time we play a show, it's going to be different. Mm-hmm. And this is why people follow them on tour, or did follow them on tour, and they follow the Dead and Company, and they followed what was it, Future Bus, or what was that other one that
I don't
they
know.
did? It was Future,
Now also they're doing. I don't know Future Bus, but now Bob is doing like
Bob
his.
Weir?
Yeah, Bob Weir's doing like his own thing.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
actually Naveen's dad just saw on New Year's Eve.
Bob
Yeah.
in Cali,
No, it was in
New
Florida.
Oh, Florida?
in Florida. Oh wow.
Yeah, it was in Florida.
Yeah, he. I ran into him. I used to live in Sausalito on a houseboat,
Oh, yeah.
and he'd come around
Sounds
quite
about right.
oftenly. And he'd be snazzy. He was looking good, but he was always drunk. Like I caught him one time, like he tripped, and like I don't know if it was the alcohol, but he was definitely having some cocktails in some sushi place.
He tripped, physically tripped.
He physically tripped, yeah, on nothing. Yeah, and like made a hole in his really nice slacks and stuff. And I ran over there, and and then like probably every person from, what is that town, San Rafael?
Yeah.
Already got the text. They're like, Bob Weir fell. We gotta just go save him.
If I was Bob Weir, I'd probably be drunk eating sushi too, just loving my
Same.
life.
Same.
Yeah.
I did a weird night like that in Sausalito one time, actually. As a matter of fact, I installed like a whole house of draperies, and I took our van up there, and because I lived in Santa Cruz. It's like fucking 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. If you're lucky.
And so I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm just going to like sleep up here for a couple nights in the van and work during the day. And so I went up there, and dude, surprisingly enough, like in Sausalito, like, have you been there? You've been there. So the downtown, that little downtown area,
quintessentially boutique.
Like, I just parked the van there, and slept right on the water. Like, it was honestly an experience that people would pay tons of money for.
Yeah,
it was super fun, and I parked right there. Nobody said shit to me. That like I didn't get hassled at all. I woke up and made breakfast on my little camping stove, and I was right on the bay. It was cold, obviously, and then I also took a cold shower right there, just like outside of my van. Just dunked myself, and that was an experience.
At a time, everybody was allowed to do that.
Yeah,
so I was like illegally anchored a few times out there, and
didn't seem like a problem.
It wasn't a problem for a really long time, and then I guess they had rounded up some money, and they went out there and they possessed everybody's boats, and
and the water. Okay,
yeah.
See, I was land bound.
Yeah, and like they crushed them all, and what that turned into was homeless encampments in the parking lot.
Wait, they crushed all their boats?
Yeah, they crushed the boats. Yeah, and like it just made, because all these people were like living on their boats, for free.
Yeah.
And then long story short, I mean, it just became this enormous homeless encampment right there in Sausalito, and these people pay millions of dollars to live there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. It was like it was an experience that I think about a lot. Actually, it was really fun.
It was one of the best times of my life because it was nice to be. I was working in San Francisco, and I just always wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
So it was nice to come home to like just being right on the water.
That's when wasn't that place where we wrote Ghost on the Marina about? It was like a haunted marina.
That's a totally haunted. One of the marinas that I lived on was like completely haunted marina. I'd always hear like just like these like this high angelic voice that would just wake you up when you're sleeping. And it's just singing. It's beautiful, and it sounded like a female's voice, And then everyone else there that was like in and out, whether they were docked legally or illegally anchored or whatever, like everybody started to talk about it. After I had heard it, then that's when like I was having conversations about it, and people were all very aware. There's like, oh yeah, there's definitely ghosts on this marina, and that actually led to a song
that we never released.
Was there anything else that led you to believe that it was haunted?
I mean, jellyfish are pretty scary looking.
That's true. That's true.
Jellyfish are fascinating looking.
We don't even need ghosts with those fucking things, right?
Imagine if jellyfish like, came out of the water and flew around.
Yeah. Like they remind me of ghosts, like. So I mean, if they need to, they're soluble. So
100%.
Well, that's crazy. So we haven't even talked. We didn't talk about when you moved to. Where did you move first?
In my life?
I'm asking. Yeah, I'm just fascinated with how you were moving around the world. Like, what place did you move to first outside of the U.S.?
Outside of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to go to Mexico all the time with my family, but we only do like the all-inclusive resort type of mumbo jumbo, and I think it was Colombia. I went down to Colombia, and I was like one of the very few white people there, like because it was now becoming like like maybe tourists wanted to test the waters,
Where did you go?
I went straight to Bogota, and the funniest part about that was
my brother did that too. I
Yeah.
wonder if it was around the same time.
This was about 2011.
Same exact time.
Really? It was around
Same
that time?
exact time. Yeah.
Maybe
They
we
went to
threw
Bogota
fists.
and Cali.
Okay, yeah. It was funny too because how I got to Bogota was just like completely random. I had bought a ticket to Medellin, and I didn't know it was vice versa. Sorry, I went to Medellin the first time, and I had bought a ticket to Bogota, and it was just like, I was using prepaid visas at the time. I didn't have a bank account. So I was like, if I got enough money, it was like $110 to fly to Bogota from like Oakland, like one way.
Wow,
so I was like, if I got enough money on this thing, then I guess I'm going to Colombia, It just reminds me of Chandler. He's like, I guess I'm going to Yemen, to get away from Janice. I guess I'm going to Yemen,
R.I.P.
Yeah. And I had missed my flight because Colombia is like one of the few places in Latin America where you have to show proof of exiting the country after 90 days or less. So it was the last flight of the night. It was just like, I don't know, JetBlue or something. And they just ended up giving me a flight the next day. And I was just like, just had to show proof.
A one-way ticket?
I had a one-way ticket, yeah. Like, so I just faked. Leaving? Yeah, it was just a one-way ticket. And I just faked an itinerary and I went back the next night for my flight. And we were going to have a layover in Fort Lauderdale. And we ended up sitting there for like 4 hours on the runway in Oakland. And they were like, on the intercom, they're like, if you guys have a flight from Fort Lauderdale to Bogota and to wherever else, don't worry, they're going to wait for us. We're like, okay, cool. Well, as soon as we get to Fort Lauderdale, nobody's there. So they give us all hotels, free drinks, and Uber passes.
Wow. That's the first time anyone's ever heard of an airline doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Usually they just screw you over.
Yeah, usually they're like, you can sleep in the airport.
Yeah, they gave me a hotel, and I had free drinks at the bar in the hotel. So I just got
Of course you didn't drink anything at all.
Plastered. I just got plastered. And I was supposed to be my next flight in the morning was supposed to leave at like 7 a.m. And I literally woke up and saw the clock, and it was 7:01.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, that's the time I'm supposed to be on the plane, you know? And so like I pack up. I'm like, oh, shit. I just know there's like a 2-hour window that you can get. You don't have to pay for another ticket. And I don't know if that's gone now after the pandy. But, yeah, so I get there, and they're like, okay, we don't have any more flights to Bogota. I'm just like, well, then fucking fly me to Venezuela or something, or Ecuador, or wherever, dude. I'm trying to get out of here, you know? And they're all like, she's like, you know? And she's just like, we have a ticket to Medellin. And I was just like, wherever that is, I'm down, you know? And like, I didn't even look it up. And I was just like, I had no idea where Medellin was. And I get there, and I'm just like, it's Colombia. So I'm just all like, I didn't know Spanish at the time, or I knew like very little. And I'm just like, Casa de Tourists, you know, like looking for a hostel or something. I'm like, Casa de Tourists, you know, and this guy like takes me, I'm in a taxi, and he like takes me to like a Casa de Cambios, which is like to exchange your money. And I was just like, I go up to the person, I was just like, this doesn't look like a hotel, you know? And like, I was just like, okay, yeah, you go to this place. So he sends me, it was like, it was a Buddha house, the hostel. And that changed my life because of that. I met this guy, and he was just kind of like, ayahuasca is ready for you, you know? And I was just like, yeah.
But he just said that just randomly?
Yeah, I mean,
Harrison
we were hanging out all day, and like he was just like a super level-headed, down-to-earth, like Australian Iranian guy. And I was just like, yeah, I didn't want to like seek it out, you know? And he was just like, no, brother, I really think it's ready for you, you know? I was just like, cool, you know? So he invites me to this brother shamans that were living out in the jungle, and I ended up living with them for 3 months. So before I even decided to go check out Colombia and the rest of Latin America.
Damn, that's sick.
So
you
like,
live with these guys in the jungle?
I lived with them for 3.5 months, and we were drinking ayahuasca like 2 to 3 times a week. And like, it got to a point where like, I was just like, oh man, I don't feel like 100% dedicated to this like everybody else here. Like, I don't want a regime, you know? I'm a very undisciplined human being, you know? Like, I still wanted to see the rest of the world, you know? And I just hitchhiked out of there, and I went all the way down to Patagonia and went to Lake Titicaca and jumped in the water, and then hitchhiked all the way back to Colombia. I know that sounds like kind of weird. It was a crazy experience the whole way through it all. And I was just, you know, sleeping outside, manifesting bus tickets and meeting cool people and letting them sleep in their places. And I just wasn't spending any money. And I was playing guitar in like parks and stuff like that. And I play guitar just like at the center where all the buses are, because everybody just travels on like these big tour buses everywhere, you know? And I didn't have any money, you know, but I wanted to like not do the hitchhiking, because some countries were a little bit easier to do, like Ecuador, easy. Colombia, not very easy. Peru, coast, but interior, didn't have any luck. Chile, easy. You know, Argentina, it differed. If you're on the coast, it seems easier to hitchhike. Interior was always a lot more difficult, and it was weird because Colombia, I never had any luck in Colombia. But so, you know, I play music to just a bunch of people who have no idea what I'm saying, and I'm just making words up and like ripping off some Portugal the Man chords or something like that. You know, it's like the only things I could play, you know, like I was like, dude, lady, done it in the decibel box, you know, like, and the people would just give me money or buy me a ticket.
Do you?
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't come with there were some trials and tribulations too,
Of course,
you know,
man.
like, yeah.
That's
I mean,
living.
And it went on
That's
for
living life.
years.
It went on
and
for years and years and years.
And every now and then he would come back and stay where I was staying with me, and we would make music to tie it all together.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't live. I guess you lived in
I lived in San Jose,
right?
Or
Yeah.
Santa Clara, yeah.
So were you
That
doing this
sounds
while you
so
were in Arkaik?
like so whack after what you just said.
But were you doing this while you were playing in Arkaik? Was
Yeah,
that-
working a 9 to 5.
Dude,
It's actually Cupertino, California, and
yeah, I would go to In-N-Out maybe twice a month.
Yeah.
I would get great
Nordstrom.
deals
My
at the mall.
taxes.
we had a Westfield mall actually. And,
I bought a pair of shoes there once.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd come over and I mean, we just bang it out and we were doing it like really quickly too, you know, like make music. Cause like I kind of had an idea when I wanted to go, you know,
Yeah.
and I always just buy one-way tickets out. And so like that kind of put a, fire under our booties, you know, whether or not we were crunchy the next morning. Cause like
We went out
we
drinking.
definitely knew how to keep a party going,
Yeah.
you know? So like,
But weren't doing it while I was in Arkaik.
No, wasn't happen. So it was you quit Arkaik and then
Yeah,
you started this project.
So yeah, I quit Arkaik in like 2012, and then probably we started doing this in like 2018.
Okay, got you.
No,
So there's a
early
6 year, yeah.
appetite.
Oh yeah, well that was while I was in Arkaik. When I first got like a laptop and was like, I want to try to make electronic music.
Logic?
Yeah, about Logic, and I was like, oh, because I don't know. I feel like we should like rewind and kind of tell like how we met. I feel like
Tell it.
how
fill it
do
up,
it.
man. Let's
Yeah.
go.
because
So I was a slave that just got back from, I was right off the boat. And
Right off the boat from Texas.
Yeah.
we were looking for someone to flip
Down the
burgers.
Rio Grande. You know?
He had strong toes.
Yeah.
He had what you'd call
Burger flipping toes.
burger flipping toes.
Yeah. And mute eyelids.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so Jared is from
Canyon Lake.
Canyon Lake as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Yeah. And so, all right. So, so we had a we were doing Arkaik, and my neighbor behind us was like, "Hey, we're gonna throw this Christian festival at the baseball stadium around where we live. Do you guys would Arkaik want to play it? It'll pay $500." And we were like, "No, I don't think Arkaik would be a good fit." But we're like, "We want that $500." So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like, we're like, let's put together a band. And write some music that is kind of cool with positive overtones. And if we like the band, then we'll continue it. Because me and Jared had just really gotten into Mars Volta and Tool and all that stuff. So Jared was like, I'm gonna play drums, and I was like, well, I'll play guitar. And so Jared was dating this chick that was friends with one of our other mutual friends. His name's Brandon. And so she was like, hey, he'll come over and try out for bass. And so he did, and we ended up becoming friends, and he ended up playing bass for it. And we were like, we need a singer. And he was like, yo, one of my best buds, is a good singer. We've written some songs together. He showed us some stuff that was like on his phone, and we're like, cool, like, bring him over. And so he came over, and we had the jam spot at my house for Arkaik to practice. So it was easy for us to jam. So Cameren came over, and we immediately just started jamming, and Cameren just like let out just whatever into the microphone. And we were like, whoa, damn, that sounds sick. Like, I still think Cameren is one of the most unique voices I've ever heard. So we were like,
Thank you.
yeah. I was like, this sounds dope. Like, let's do it. So we wrote a bunch of songs. We were like super, like, we were like ripping off Incubus and Protest the Hero and, probably Tool type sound, that's what we were going for. Anyways, the show never ended up happening. Like, it fell through, never.
No $500.
No $500.
Damn.
But we all kind of became friends and kind of bonded over like System of the Down and Mars Volta and Tool and what was the other? Oh, like Protest the Hero and stuff. So, and then became friends. And so we're like, well, we got this band. We wrote some songs that we like. So we went and we made a demo, started playing kind of around our little area, and then went and then made another demo at the same place that Arkaik recorded their first album at, Seahorse Sound. And then we're like, well, we wanted to like take it seriously. We're like, this is cool. Like if we could get Arkaik doing its thing and we have this other band, like that would be dope. So then we like started playing around San Diego and LA and
We hit the Key Club once.
we played at the Key Club. I think we played at Brick by Brick in San Diego. And, you know, we're super proud of our demo and we're like, we want to do it. And then it kind of just, I think it just kind of fizzled out. Arkaik ended up kind of getting signed to Unique Leader at that point. So we were like kind of started really focusing on that. And then, and then we just all kind of, I don't know, it just kind of fell apart. Cameren ended up like doing his traveling vagabond thing, but we all stayed friends, like, because you know we were all always still hanging out and going to festivals and stuff together. So we kept in touch from that point forward. And then Cameren did all this really dope, awesome traveling stuff. And fast forward to about like that's when we made that one song that he was talking about. Like, well, during that time, that was our first little foray into him recording, me making like an electronic beat, and then him singing to it. And we're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, you know?
That was super dubsteppy.
Yeah. And then that was kind of it for that. And then fast forward from that time, 2013, fast forward to about 2018. And I'm, you know, I had been out of Arkaik for since about the same time, 2012, 2013, was focusing on my Bastic Legion dubstep project. And then, you know, Cameren would come back to town and stay where I was staying. And a couple times, like, he had come and we'd hung out. And then I'm like, dude, why don't we make some music? Like, I've got all the stuff, you know, I've got a microphone, like, let's make a couple tunes. So we made a song. Sworn. Yeah, we made Sworn.
Paint the Dark.
And then after about, I don't know how long it took, if it was in one, like, week period that you came, or if it was, like, over a long period of time.
No, because that was when I was healing from surgery.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when we made that first EP.
I kept on coming back around because, like, I was, you know, I had just, like, ripped apart my whole knee and had to get like full knee reconstruction. So I was down in San Diego doing like rehab and doing.
What happened to your knee?
Oh, I got jumped by a bunch of gutter punks in Chile, and I jumped. Yeah, I had like jumped, and I was just, you know, I'd killed like 2 boxes of wine the night before, so I was still feeling it in the morning, and then. And that all happened in the morning, you know. There's just like 7 little gutter punks from Argentina who were just like causing trouble. And so like I'm out, they're coming after me. I'm just like, oh shit, you know, like, and I start running the other way, and I've got like thick ass like Irish setter boots on, like I can't even like run in, right? And like this town is Valparaiso, and it's just like all stairs everywhere. It's all on hills, you know? So there's just stairs everywhere. I don't know where I'm going. And like, I just leap. Like I can fly or something, like Jesus. 20 steps. And when I land, like that, hit my head right on the concrete, legs just like that. And that's,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Jacked up, tore your ACL, right?
Or something. ACL, LCL, MCL.
All the L's.
Yeah,
MC squared.
I shattered my shin bone and fractured like the lower half of my tibia, or what is that called?
Tibia.
Tibia.
The
big thingy over the knee.
No idea.
What is that thingy called? A femur.
Femur. There we go.
Femur. Yeah.
Perfect. Nothing like what any of us said.
Yeah, I was like
tibia.
A tibia
tailbone.
Yeah, a lamaria.
So you, because of that, you had to be in the States because you're.
Yeah, because I didn't have insurance, so I needed to figure that all out. And my pops had 2 houses down in San Diego. One was like, you know, a mobile estate that I was living at, and he was like preparing his new home or whatever somewhere else. And so I was pretty gracious for that. I had a place to rest my head at night, and I had to go through that whole process. And then I just kind of fucked off from rehab way too early. Moved into my Mazda 3 and went up to San Francisco and was living in my Mazda 3 with like a leg that needs to be completely elevated and stuff, like still and everything. Yeah, it took me years just to even like feel confident with that knee again, just because I didn't do the rehabilitation correctly. It took me years. Yeah.
Dude, that's the thing. If you don't pay attention to like what the doctor is telling you, it actually, or just doing the correct rehab, it can totally fuck you up, and it takes so much longer to heal it then.
Or it won't even heal at all.
Or it won't heal.
You'll heal incorrectly, and then you're all jacked up for.
I mean, also I was quite the drunkard too at the time, because like emotionally I was in a tough spot, you know, because I had a girlfriend down in Chile, and we broke up, and then the leg thing happened, and then I had to come all the way back up to the States, and like I was just kind of like brokenhearted.
Yeah.
And just, you know, using alcohol for an escape, and that definitely didn't help the healing process either.
So what did you do to stop being an alcoholic? Did you like just cut yourself off cold turkey, or?
I've done that too many times. I can't say I ever stopped.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm like, just because it's dry January
ask,
doesn't
what
mean
did
you're
you
not going to
stop doing
see me in my party suit next February.
True that, but you're not a full blown alcoholic from my experience.
No, I'm not. No,
So,
I know people are way worse, thankfully.
so what do you do? So what do you do to switch out of that like alcoholic tendency?
Psychedelics.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Psychedelics. Yeah, that definitely. And it's weird too, because it's not like, I don't see it like, oh, immediate. You're all like, I'm shifted and everything's lifted, and you know, I'm crazy town, you know, song or something like that. It's like you see down the road. I don't know why. It just shifted, lifted.
Come my lady, come
that's not a
my
crazy
lady.
town.
Big up Shifty Shell
just-
Shock.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it shifted. What
That's,
song is that?
Johnny or Jay something.
Sugar, sugar, how you get so
fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those guys from the 90s. You know, but I just had that cool feeling, you know, in their songs. But yeah, long story short.
It's the ultimate feeling.
Yeah, it's
Ooh wee.
boom, 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 man.
There we
Full
go.
circle. Yeah. What was? Oh yeah, the psychedelics thing. Like it's like you're like building your steps. You know, if you're like microdosing, you'll see 6 months down the road, like the improvement you've made.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like
100%,
it's not like some hero's journey, and then all of a sudden, like now you're preaching your parents and all your friends after or something like that. You know, it's like you're starting to see like you're building healthier habits, and the shittier habits seem to start to become irrelevant, and they just disintegrate. You know,
Yeah.
where you're all like, oh, okay, no, I'm not huffing, you know, whippets every Tuesday anymore, or something like that, you know?
I like microdosing, but I do think there is something to be said if you do eat like a large amount of psychedelics that can put things into perspective too. You know what I mean? It kind of takes you out of your day-to-day minutia, gives you the cosmic perspective, and you can kind of be like, oh, I should probably get my shit together a little bit. You know what I
I
mean?
agree with that. I agree with you 100%. I like to do that like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Just do a reset. But I still, at the same time, I agree with Cam that it's not just an immediate shift the minute that I trip. It's months down the road thinking about the trip. You know, I'm super introspective while it's happening, obviously, but some of those things I just don't even revisit until weeks or months down the road.
It takes a while to integrate.
It takes a while. Yeah, but that's what's so cool about it, I think, because I don't think that an immediate shift would actually be a life-changing shift.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes when you like immediately shift into things, you immediately shift out of them as well. Like things that take a while to integrate, things that take a while to like take off in your life, those are the things that actually stick over time, at least in my own living experience, which is not the same as everyone else's.
Yeah. I mean, because like, I can't tell you how many times like I've taken like a lot of drugs or psychedelics, medicine, and I'm just like trying to telepathically like communicate with Dua Lipa. I'm like, please, let's just meet us in the same place, and I'm gonna sweep you off your feet. I know I am, you know, like Dua Lipa, do you hear me? You know, like
That only works if you're in an 8-mile radius of the yacht that she's hanging out on.
Yeah, you're right. On my way to Mykonos then.
You know, while this is all like, it's hella funny to joke about this shit, the reality is that, and people will make fun of like manifesting and all of those things if you use those terms. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just new age bullshit. There are so many things in my life that I do not think would have occurred without me actually manifesting them first.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like there's
Absolutely.
no way, like so many things have happened that have lined up perfectly to what my hopes and dreams were for that thing, that it's like, coincidences exist for sure, but at a certain point, so many coincidences happen that it's like, have I been manifesting this? You know, what is there a manifestation?
You have to have that vision of where you're going to go and work towards it every day.
I do
Absolutely.
think I do believe 100% in synchronicity as well too. Though I think I feel like like there's a lot of new age buzz terms that people like to cap on and hate, but I mean there's something to it. You know what I mean? I feel like dead ass. No cap.
No cap.
No
On
cap.
God, for real.
But yeah, I mean, I think you have to believe in magic in order to get it, though. I think that's the thing. If you believe that that reality is this dead mechanistic accident, that's just a series of things playing out like that don't matter, then I think you might get that. But if you believe in magic, you'll experience it, and that's only from experience too. That's the kind of thing that you can't like tell people quantifiably, but you're like, if you experiment with it in your life, like you might see some return on that.
I totally agree. And the fascinating thing to me is that I think that some people are very quick to turn down those things. Like you'll come across people in your life who never see anything as a potential possibility. You know what I mean? There are people who are so negative that they'll take any positive thing that you say and they're like, that could never, ever fucking happen. And then you see bad things happen for those people. You see their life continuing on in a negative direction. But anyone who I've ever been around who had that kind of outlook that these things can exist, they might exist, and if so, then I'm going to believe in those things, or at least, pursue the potential, that manifesting, that believing in myself, believing in the world, and that good things do happen. Those people, good things tend to happen to those people. They tend to achieve their dreams. If they say, hey, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to do this, those things kind of take off for the people who believe in that.
Yeah.
I mean, you are what you think about all day long.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
and
it's like you're going to go in that direction. So,
and even if it's placebo effect, even if you're like, oh, the clock said
exactly.
11:11, and I saw those sparrows fly by, so that means that I'm going to get this job interview and I'm going to kill it, and then it happens, like, even if it's placebo effect, I mean, it works, right?
yeah, what's the difference?
Or is it real magic? You know what I mean? Is it your spirit guides like placing that symbol in you, so that symbol unlocks something in your subconscious so that you act differently during this experience that you're trying to have, so that the outcome from that experience is exactly what you desire? I don't know. That or placebo seem cool to me. You know what I'm saying?
Either way, we're going in the right direction.
Exactly.
We're trying to go that way. And that's definitely been a thing for me, as well.
Yeah.
What's I don't. Are you guys into your like horoscope or your star signs at all?
I wouldn't say that I'm fully into anything. I'm like super neutral, but I'm down to hear it out. I'm down to explore those things. You know what I mean? Like I'm not closed off to anything in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm also not open to anything in the world. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. Yeah.
Like I'm always, going back to my horoscope, I'm a Libra. So it's like I'm always trying to, thank you.
Balance.
Thank you. But the balance, maybe it is because I'm a Libra, maybe it's not because I'm a Libra, but I do, like, throughout my life, I'm so into the balance of things. I like the yin and the yang. And that has been the healthiest thing for me personally, to just say, maybe these things do exist, maybe they don't exist. Maybe horoscope is true, maybe it's false, but I'm going to at least read it. Yeah. And see what's up with it and know about it. Yeah.
What about you? I think that non-attachment to outcome is, there's something to that, right? You're not putting all your eggs in a basket, so you're leaving yourself open to all the possibilities. Instead of some person going, I only believe that I can manifest these things, and then closing themselves off to other possibilities, or people that go, I don't believe in any of that, and then closing themselves off to all the possibilities on the other side. You're like, your neutrality is leaving you open to a greater, wider range of possibilities.
But now, like, we're in a new era. And like we talked about it multiple times, and always bring it back up, the quickening, like now we're seeing things that I felt like there was a point where like people who wanted to unlock the mysteries of the world and their own outcomes and this synchronicity and manifestation, like they were giving themselves a one up on the opportunity to, achieve their greatest desires, live a healthy life, whatever they were deciding, whatever they set their intentions on, they could manifest it, right? But now it's just like, I think we're just in a new era where things are shifting and we're getting closer to a whole nother solar system that has its own wisdom, like now we can see Andromeda in the sky, like come November, and like that's the Milky Way of what is that, Lemuria or Pleiades?
Pleiades.
It's a Pleiades. So like, what if there might be something to it, but like the energy is elevating, and people who aren't on the same page and weren't into the new age mumbo jumbo, like they're seeing things too, you know? They're seeing things now because like we're all in this together collectively, you know? They may not believe in that we're all into this together, but like I think things are really shining light in other people's life that maybe had a lot of darkness, or just they were, you know, naive about it, or, you know, whatever, you know, but now things are just like, we talk about it now. It's just like, what was that saying? When like now it's just coming into effect almost immediately now, you know?
Oh yeah. So the quickening is something that we've noticed. It seems like the time between something and its manifestation is getting quicker and quicker, and it's showing up in different ways. Like, so what I've noticed is like, if I'm thinking about something, like it'll show up in my reality like super fast. Like not like I want $1 million, but like the other day I was thinking about Bill and Ted, like in the shower, just because, I don't know, I was just spacing out in the shower, and I was thinking about Bill and Ted, and then like literally after I got out of the shower and opened my phone, I saw this meme about Bill and Ted, and then I had a conversation with my buddy Josh, and he brought up Bill and Ted in the conversation. And like that type of stuff is happening a lot, like to a profound like degree, to where I'm like, wow, like there's something to this. I feel like
that even happened right before you guys got here. Naveen said that he never thinks about tour, and then we just got some news about a tour.
I was thinking about tour, and which I, believe it or not, I never think about tour when I'm at home. And I was just thinking about just certain aspects of touring. And I was thinking that it was weird that I was thinking about it, because I was like, wow, I tour so much and I never really think about it. And then Chaney just comes in with some news about tour.
Yeah.
I also I'll find myself like having dreams about things, or thinking about things maybe in an anxious way, like before I wake up. I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, but I'll be like halfway between sleeping or waking and dreaming, and I'll like have an anxiety, or I'll think about something, and then I wake up and I look at my phone, and it's like, oh, that thing, like something to do with that thing is happening.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been your phone listening, because you never even said it out loud.
Yeah, it's unspoken.
Yeah. And so what Cameren was talking about, like there's a lot of different things going on cosmologically, right? Regardless of the shape of the planet, you know, whatever it could be, right?
Space.
You know, like there's something that's been happening within the last 2 decades that has been making the time, it seemed like it's increasing exponentially, right? Like the type of shit that happened in the last 4 years would have taken 2 decades to happen. Yeah. And it's just getting faster and faster. So like, I don't know who came up with the term quickening. I feel like I read it somewhere in a blog, but it just stuck with me. But it seems like we're getting into that place where not only is time speeding up, things that used to take longer periods of time are happening in shorter periods of time, but the time between thought and it manifesting or popping into your reality is also getting faster and faster, to the point where like who knows, like there might be a point in time where we hit like instant like manifestation. Like we might be like, if you're into the like the cosmological aspects in astrology, right? We're exiting one long period of time. Our planet has been in the age of Pisces for like the last 26,000 years, and we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is another 26,000 year cycle. As our planet goes through like the precession of the equinoxes on a larger scale, and maybe that's not the right term. I'm not super well versed in astrology, but it hits every sign of the zodiac for about 26,000 years. And in between the 26,000 years, there's smaller 12,000 year cycles. So in Hindu and Hindu cosmology and spirituality, those are called yogic cycles. Every yogic cycle is 26,000 years. So we're at the end of a yogic cycle, going into the beginning of another one. And so we're going out of a yogic cycle. I don't know if it's the Kali Yuga or the other one, but we're going out of
Kali Yuga.
Yeah. And so we're going out of a dark age cycle into a light age cycle, and so out of the age of Pisces, according to Egyptian Western astrology, because Hindi astrology has it, they have their own cosmology, their own astrology that's super dope. Just like the Chinese astrology has their own. Every culture has their own map of the stars that is how you navigate reality on a micro scale and a macro scale, right? So the age of Pisces was all about the individual, right? Which is why you got cult of personalities, which is why kings were important, which is why you guys got like Hitler, the celebrity, right? It was about the individual. And so the whole idea of the age, like Jesus, Lucifer, Satan, it was all about one dude. This one dude's going to do everything. Martin Luther King, the bad guy, the good guy.
Yeah.
It was a 26,000 year cycle where we really got the idea of the individual, the individuation of the ego. Like you either refined yourself to like the Christ-like state where you're the baddest individual ever, or you went down the left-hand path and you were like a Hitler or whatever, right? So imagine now that where we've had as a human collective the ability to refine the individual to its highest exalted form. The next age, the age of Aquarius, is all about community. So imagine like every exalted individual that has refined themselves to the point of badassery, creating communities of those individuals, right? And so that's kind of like what the next age is about. I don't know, I forgot why I went on this rant, but Cameren inspired me to.
That's all right. Can you actually hit the coolest sample that he just did it like bing? Yeah, there it is. That was dope, wasn't it?
That's my spiel about that thing. I had a reason though. Like I wanted to tie it in because you like inspired me.
I brought up
something.
The quickening.
Oh yeah. And so I think that is part and parcel of why the quickening has happened, because we might be going into a new age where time is we experience time on a completely different like scale. Like how time affects us and we experience it in our corporal reality will be completely different, and we're witnessing the beginning of that. So the speeding up might turn into an instant manifestation type thing. We might be entering a whole new reality where we experience time differently. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think might be pretty cool, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, time is one of those things that is impossible to really wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like not really a thing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
not. We
not
just
a thing.
accept it as a thing.
We
you
accept
know?
it as a thing, and the way that people experience time is very different.
Yeah.
It's very broad among different individuals. It depends.
And cultures.
And cultures. If you're waiting on something, time moves so much slower.
Yeah.
And if something cool is happening to you in the moment, time moves so much quicker.
Time
It's
flies
like,
when you're having fun.
time flies when you're having fun. I mean, there's a reason that exists. It's real.
It's relative. Yeah.
There's no way to re-experience time.
No.
Like if you were
because
waiting
it doesn't
to do something
exist
for 20 years, and then there's no way when you get to the end of the 20 years to look back and relive that time.
But a fascinating part
possible.
of being a human is that so much of our time is spent trying to relive something that we experienced before, whether it be like the first time you went to this crazy party. You know, the first time that we do things, I feel like is really the most monumental in our lives.
Yeah.
And we spend so much time chasing that like white pony, you know, or chasing that thing.
That's drug addiction in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is you're trying to get that first high all over again.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, if you live in the past, it's called anxiety. I mean, it's called depression.
Yep.
And if you live in the future, it's called anxiety.
But living in the moment is the hardest thing to
Get.
do,
That's
to
why
achieve.
it's called the present.
That's why. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm constantly every day, like, trying to tell myself to just enjoy where I'm at in the moment.
Yeah.
Be here now.
Yeah. Be here now.
I mean, so many
so
aspects
hard.
of like trying to find
really
or achieve spirituality, individual spirituality, are based around being present in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do because I know that, you know, while you're having conversations, you're thinking about other things. You're thinking about, what am I doing tomorrow? What am I eating? Or, you know, it's so hard. It's so impossible to live in the moment that when you do, it's, you know, those few minutes, because I don't always live in the moment. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's like the few moments that you achieve in your life where you are living in the moment, it's so sweet and it's so crazy, but it's so hard to do.
Yeah, unless you really have to pee. Like,
And then
that's
you're
like
just-
the worst time to
and
live
then
in the
it's like,
moment.
I have
you know?
to.
When you have to
That's
pee
the only
so
place
bad.
you are.
Yeah, you're like, God,
I
can I
feel
just
like-
put my head somewhere else?
I feel like that. Yeah, that's so easy to live in the moment. Then, you know.
Maybe that's the key. Never pee.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's where I need to ask where the restroom is.
It's right
Across the hall.
across. Right across the hall.
You'll see it, no problem there.
But yeah, and it's funny too because, you know, we do spend all our time either
Good
like
segue, by the way.
yeah, that was
Yeah, that was
brilliant.
really good.
And it's actually so profoundly true.
That'll put you right in the moment.
It will, and there, you can't escape it.
No.
But yeah, so where are you with like, what is your spirituality? Where is your spirituality at? Do you have spirituality? Are you like?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's a grab bag of everything that makes sense to me. Because I'm really into it, and I've kind of just on my own time studied a lot of the different ones, and I feel like there's the big picture, and every different spirituality shines a different light on a different portion of the big picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Christ was a dope dude if he was real. The government killed him. What's that tell you about him, right? And he was like, you know, he's got a dope way to live his life. It's weird that the religion made it all about his death because his life was all about him becoming an ascended master and performing miracles and walking on water. And he says things like, you will do works as good as me, even greater, and tells you the kingdom of God is within, right? So there's a lot of good stuff in there, especially the mystical forms of Christianity. The Gnostics had a lot of interesting things to say. So that shines a decent light on this part of the big picture. But like, you know, the Hindu religion has amazing things to say about the fabric of reality and the nature of it and the infinite and how everything is a reflection of everything else, and like has some deep, like insightful, profound things to say about that. And then Buddhism has some amazing ways to kind of keep you in the moment. So like each spirituality shines a really dope light on a different portion of the big picture. So if you like check out enough of them, it kind of gives you like a cool little like scattered view of the whole big picture that you can kind of piece together on your own.
I absolutely agree with that. And that's why it's so hard for me to understand when someone commits so hard to one facet of that. Yeah. Because I feel like that's only one way to look at the world. And then ironically, the way that they look at the world becomes through this little straw.
Yeah, narrow.
Yeah, super narrow.
Seeing everything through like one filter.
It's easy because people just want an easy answer. They want something that they can put everything in this box and go, now everything makes sense based on this box that it's in.
I don't have to think anymore.
I don't have to think anymore.
I don't have to think anymore. I just do all of these things, and they just adhere all to this thing, and I've got it.
Yeah,
I'm good.
And they'll do mental gymnastics when you bring up contradictions, and they'll be like,
exactly.
That is a huge problem that I have, is that I've found when you go to argue about those things that, it's a million mental gymnastics. You bring up one part and they're like, well, you have to look at it in a different way. They didn't actually mean to frame it exactly how it was framed there. So to me, the question is like, so how are there certain things that are just perfectly said, and those are things that we're supposed to take literally, and then there are other parts that they're just not framed the right way?
Oh, that was a parable.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, there's a lot of good stuff there, but it doesn't mention any of this other stuff. You know what I mean? And maybe it does, but we don't know. But like, you know, a lot of, I'm not having anything against Christians or Christianity, but like, you know, Christianity's got a lot of good stuff, but it doesn't say anything about the fabric of reality and the nature of existence on a giant cosmic scale, which I think is a lot of really good info. You know what I mean? Like,
good info right there.
Good info right there that's applicable to your life, and it's nice to have that giant panned out perspective. You know, but Christians will be like, well, no, that's just demon worship. The guy's got 8 arms.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's devil worship. You know.
You know, it's so fascinating to me. I'm not going to name the band, but when I was a kid, my band opened for this band. I was in a local band. We opened for a big band, and they were a Christian band. And I was so fascinated at how much weed they smoked and how much they drank. Like, you know, it's like you kind of look at religious people as if they're supposed to abstain from those type of things because certain religions do, but some people get super. Yeah, they're humans. Some people just get super fucked up.
Was this like the era where like straight edge became like?
This was
like
more
a
like
commercial thing?
they were a Christian band.
Yeah.
So it wasn't straight
way
edge.
you opened up for Creed?
I didn't want to say. I didn't want to say their name.
I heard he's a wacko. He's doing Cameo though, $25K.
$25K for a cameo. Fuck.
I mean, do you not want higher sung at your business meeting? You know.
All right, you have to tell the story about when Scott Stapp tried to feed you chicken McNuggets out of his hand.
All right, I didn't want to bring it up. Fuck, I told you not to bring it up, but all right.
Loose lips.
Yeah, I think when you think of
crash cars.
This is blasphemous what I'm going to say, but when you think of as religion as ideas, I believe it becomes more fascinating for me than being this is the spoken word of God, and you have to take everything.
Religion it contains you. You can't have the freedom to think like that.
Yeah, of course.
When it comes to quote unquote religion.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's what we were just saying, is that when you commit fully to a religion, then your scope of reality becomes so limited because you're basing everything through this one religion, which is only really seeing one facet of the world.
And see everything through that lens.
Yeah, you see everything through that lens, and there are so many rules that are given if you adhere to one religion. But when you kind of take everything in, then you don't have to adhere to rules, and you also can gain a lot of like new ways on or new ideas on how to live. And I feel like if you're, it goes back to the neutral thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open to everything, then you can take a little bit from everything and have that form your scope of the world, rather than following a bunch of rules because you think you're going to end up in heaven as opposed to hell.
I think because everybody's unique, like maybe we all share like skin and bones and molecular biology and yibbity you, but like I do feel that like there's Christians out there that have reached God's consciousness. There's Jews out there that have reached God's consciousness. There's Hindus that have reached God's consciousness. There's evangelicals maybe that have like reached God's consciousness. It's just a matter of like it's up to the individual. How are they going to take in this information and what they're going to do with it? Yeah, sure. Maybe it wasn't their choice when they were young, and it usually isn't.
Absolutely.
But how you can establish a new meaning of, your Christian heritage and your soul. That's all up to the individual. And my belief that this is where I feel like, what's his name? I didn't know him very well, but Alex Bent. Yeah, you guys know Alex Bent?
Yeah, he's the drummer of Trivium.
Yeah, he used to be the drummer for Arkaik.
We don't know him well. We've met him a few times.
Okay, yeah. Same here. It's mutual. Jared still keeps in contact with him, and there was this thing about him. He was a prodigy. He was like 18 years old, and I'd catch him every once in a while, and he was just the sweetest kid. But he just seemed like he was like. But he also grew up in like a very, I don't know what type of Christianity they grew up in, but he just seemed like he was like tapping into God's consciousness, that like really gave me the idea. I was just like, God's consciousness exists in all of us. It's a matter if you want to tap into it, and like, I don't know his background at all. Like I might be completely off about it, but I was under the impression that like he came from like a very strict Christian family, but like he seemed to inhibit something that I felt like it was very charming, Yeah,
well, you see that even on a broader scale. I feel like a lot of athletes, like they're Christian and they feel like it's not even them playing the sport, it's that God is playing the sport through them. Yeah. Or musicians, there are a ton who they feel like they're the vessel through which God is achieving this greater thing. And, a lot of the time it's like those people are the sickest at what they do because they feel like there's a higher power, which I feel like, you guys can probably speak to this as well, although I wouldn't personally put it on God or anything specifically. There's so many times.
That's what the Gen Z does, on God.
On God. Although I wouldn't put it on God. But there's so many times that I feel like it's not, I'm just like the vessel through which these things are written. Like sometimes things happen so quickly that it's like I don't even feel like I'm the one who's actually doing them. It's just something working through me, and that's not to
like some psychedelic inebriation just manifested inside you, and like now that's just art though, like I think that like writers can do that. I love Jim Carrey. I always bring up Jim Carrey just because I miss him so much, like he's like my Robin Williams that's still alive, but like he talks about that too. Like his painting is what keeps him sane, and he talks about how God is painting through him. Have you seen his art? It's pretty wild. He doesn't have a budget, so he can get some pretty big canvases and some good paint, I guess. But and like
he's the one that he drew the picture of Bill Clinton in a dress for Epstein, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I think
that was Lana Del Rey.
I think just the when you say God,
it's a loaded term.
The connotation of a guy with a beard or whatever preferred image that you have.
It's a loaded
There's
term.
a gender to it.
For me personally, where I'm at in my life is God means like just like the super unknown.
Totally
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grand conductor.
Yeah. To me, I just
mean
think
anything. I don't know. I who knows what it means.
But so I feel like there's something to what you were saying with like the people that say I'm a vessel for Christ or for God, right? Like it's tomato, right? At the end of the day, we are probably all just meat suits for the infinite creator and sustainer of all that is and lives to incarnate in and manifest through so that its creation can fully grow. So if you give it a name, but what that allows you to do is just surrender and be that vessel and just be an open port for that creative energy. Whether you put the hat of Christ on it or you put the hat of dharma on it, like whatever hat you want to put on it. Like
I would put the universe hat on it.
yeah, like it's probably a thing, you know what I mean? So the fact that they're willing to, they give it a name so they feel comfortable with the process, so then they can let go and then the process happens, right? So like it is happening, whether it is Christ or the universe or whatever it is. I feel like the fact that they gave it a label that makes them comfortable enough to be able to surrender to the process and become a vessel for the creative force of all existence, like I think it is a thing, so like you can give it whatever name or hat that you want to allow you to feel comfortable surrendering and being a vessel, like the Greeks had the muses, they believed that there was these beautiful goddesses, that music comes from that word, there's beautiful goddesses that existed in the other realms that if you just quieted your mind, they would feed you ideas, and like they had all the dope ideas and you would just be a conduit for all those dope ideas, So I think that is what existence is in a nutshell, is you just being a vessel for which existence can flow through, exist. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Amber said on here that you can totally tell that Chance wrote archaic lyrics at one time, which do you still have a hand in writing?
Yeah,
so you still do it?
Still do it, yeah. I'm still in quote unquote archaic, technically. Like I do all the keyboard, not all, I do most of the keyboards because some of the stuff they do, Alex writes and they just kind of do MIDI in the studio. But I contribute keyboards, do all the sound design, and I write like 95% of the lyrics. Jared's gotten really good at writing lyrics too, so he like writes lyrics as well. But yeah, I still do all that for Archaic.
Because for anyone who didn't watch the last podcast, it's like the entire story. There's a whole story behind Archaic.
Yeah.
And what's the story behind the lyrical content?
Oh man.
Yeah, I love when he talks about
I do
this
too, I know.
it just
long.
it never ends too. Like the whole story, it just continues every album.
Basically, it's about it's about a hero's journey, and it's about a character who originally was very disillusioned with the dystopia that he lived in, so he killed himself and tried to kill himself. Oh, the kitty's in here. Little ornery little stinker. He tried to kill himself, and then in that near-death experience, he had a transcendental experience where he entered a dimension where all of the things that he was running from became personified people that he then overcame. So when he didn't die and came back to his life, he was pretty much healed of all the things that made him want to kill himself. So he became the wounded healer. So now the rest of the story is him going through all the different dimensions of the realm that he exists in, going on these adventures and trying to kind of, heal the realm and battling the nemesises and meeting different characters along the way in kind of a nutshell. So every album is a different chapter in that story.
So what do you do? Is there someone like writing the patterns and then you're writing lyrics along to it? You're writing words along to patterns, or you write words first?
That's all Jared. So Jared's just like, we'll come and we'll hash the story out together and be like, this is kind of what the each chapter, which would be each song, is kind of about. And then he'll be like, all right, write lyrics. And so I'll just write lyrics. And then Jared will go and take those lyrics and he'll put them to the music. So sometimes things change. He'll take parts he likes. He'll change things. And so Jared's the one that I just blast out the lyrics, and he's the one that puts them to the music.
So with Louder Rain, are you writing lyrics or are you writing the lyrics?
So most of the time I'm writing the lyrics, and I've always kept my door open because I really think Chance is a literary wordsmith. And there might come times where like I just can't figure it out. Like I have this melody and this is gonna go well right here, but I'm just like the capsized corridor under the vessel's night ain't gonna work, And he's just like, what if the ornery cry of the unknown soaks in heat? And I'm like, oh, that works, like something like that, like
I contribute a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can riff all the day,
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So realistically, I honestly, how I write lyrics is I listen to music and I just misinterpret what everyone's saying. And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Like
I like to do that too. Sometimes I hear something that someone else says and I'm like, that would be,
it's not even what they
lyric.
said.
It's not what they said. So I'm like, I'm stealing that.
That's mine.
That's my lyric
like,
now.
it's mine now, but like, I don't know. I don't know. The happier I get, the lyrics don't change, you know.
Same.
And if I'm sad and sappy and whatever, the lyrics are still the same, you know. Like it's always just been kind of.
It comes from the same.
Yeah, but
like,
who are your
place.
biggest influences, Cameren? Like lyrically, like who would you say your biggest
Lyrically,
influences
writing music, obviously Cedric Bixler, Zavala. I mean, I think Maynard
That's
is
Mars Volta, everyone.
Yes, yeah, Mars Volta
And
at the
at the
drive-in.
At the drive-in.
Yeah,
Zavala, I think.
yeah. So yeah,
Maynard's
he's
a
insane.
great lyricist.
Yeah, I love Opeth lyrics. More classy. Jeez.
Draperies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they write about draperies.
I'm just trying. I totally forgot the name. Bright Eyes. I always thought he was a great writer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even down to like, what was his name from Third Eye Blind and
Stephen
the dude from
Jenkins?
Stephen Jenkins and the guy from Rise Against. All these dudes all grew up and they like graduated from college with English majors, and like they're just kind of great writers, you know. Like sure, like Stephen Jenkins always saying about the same thing, deep inside you, you know, that kind of thing. Like, oh, it's inside you, you know. You know, but like the guy from
inside you.
just like constantly, oh, everything's inside her, you know, her little cavern, and like
It was Vanessa Carlton too, wasn't it?
Vanessa Carlton.
I'm pretty sure.
Was
they
he
were
in love
married.
with her?
I think they were together at one point.
Oh, I'm so
wow.
happy.
Anywho.
Yeah. And then like the guy from Rise Against, like he just put things together really well, you know. Like his music's simple, but it was they were bangers, and like it was a place in my life.
Sorry,
Wow.
he got in.
He's yeah.
He did get in.
He's a
very
stinker.
lovely.
He's a rascal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chance and I talk about Purity Ring a lot. They have fantastic
Purity Ring
lyrics,
as well. Yeah, she writes. Does she write the lyrics or the guy does?
I'm not sure.
I think she does.
I think I would
Well,
assume.
whoever
vibe
does
is
it
totally-
I'm
is
just
all like
assuming
it's a
she
total 2 thumbs up for
Yeah.
sure. I really like their stuff, like the Lofty Cries.
Yeah, Belly
song.
Speak.
Oh yeah, those were great.
Yeah, it's
great
very
lyrics.
out.
wordsmithing.
yeah,
What's
and
up, little
so
buddy?
dark,
How about, little
and
buddy?
it reminds me of like Cedric from Mars Volta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him give you a smooch. He's a big smoocher.
Yeah.
He loves smooching.
He's
Every
giving
morning when I
smooches.
wake up, he comes and gives me a
way
smooch.
against park regulations.
Aw, look at it. Oh my god.
What's his name?
His name's Gizmo.
Gizmo.
For those of you
yeah,
listening,
that's
there's
right.
a really cute kitten that just.
Yeah, they're all the people in the chat are freaking out because of Gizmo.
midnight.
Well, he
I-
was at the door and he was meowing to get in.
Yeah, he
and
was
then-
He was
screaming.
hollering.
Naveen
Just
can't
about it.
deny him.
Yeah, no. That's why he's a freaking rascal.
I like that though. I feel like you know, some people just don't place emphasis on lyrics at all, and I care
I don't.
so much about lyrics. Dude, I care so much about lyrics.
Yeah,
I'll spend
you don't, but you do.
Yeah, it's like I spend so much time writing lyrics to the point that it like that's what I will freak out and cry over.
Yeah.
Like that's right before we left on tour, we were finishing an EP and like my frustration all comes if lyrical content cannot come out. Patterns are so easy for me, but like lyrics, I care about them so much. I care about language so much that like if I don't feel like it's coming out correctly, I'll edit it 1,000,000 times, and that's where I like have to stop myself. That's where I have to call it.
Yeah.
Because like a pattern, that's so easy to write, but lyrics, I could change the word 500 times and it could be like the same descriptor, but a different word.
It's like messing with a snare sound for 2
You know, like
hours.
someone
Yeah.
like Cedric.
I can do that.
Cedric teaches me how to be a better writer. I listen to his stuff and like I just sit there and I'll just read his lyrics in any moment. I'm just like, what in the hell is going on with you? You've ruined this language. You know? Like he's totally ruined this language. But like it all of a sudden he just like puts band-aids on it and it just like it heals up and you're just like, oh my God, like I want to use swine in my lyrics. You know? I want to use hollow earth. You know, I want to
Totally.
use cattle clods. You know, something
Torrentially
weird.
cut shaw.
Yeah, things like this.
Sting walks crutched and hobbled sway. Who are, out of the fay. Who are some of your favorite
Auto da fe, Jesus.
lyricists? Right.
The two people who come to mind right off the top of my head are Jacob Bannon and Anthony Green.
Anthony Green is
Anthony
Yeah.
good.
Green,
Who's Jacob
okay.
Bannon?
Jacob
Yeah,
Bannon
yeah.
is the vocalist of Converge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Jacob Bannon's lyrics are fucking amazing. Every one of his songs is a poem. He's a poet, I would say. You know, like many lyricists are. And he's inspired me greatly. Converge. I like Thou's lyrics. They're fantastic. And Emma Ruth Rundle has great lyrics.
Chelsea Wolfe.
Chelsea
has
Wolfe,
some cool
Marissa
ones.
Nadler,
Does
great
she?
lyric.
I gotta get into that.
I'm just obsessed with lyrics. It's like any person whose music I am into, it's directly related a lot of the time to the lyrical content, because without good lyrical content, I'm not going to be that into the band. Like if I hear something and it's from a band, and there are a lot of metal bands who I would be so much more into them if their lyrics were good, but I feel like sometimes
Like hell yeah.
but like hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Despised Icon.
Despised Icon, I love their lyrics, actually. Go and read them. They're pretty fucking good lyrics.
Are they cool?
They're good. They're good.
I just remember one song was just like, fucking bitch in the parking lot.
I don't know that. I don't know that one. But they're...
You know that one?
No.
You
I don't know the
no.
fuck your bitch in the parking lot song. But no, they have good lyrics. And it's like, sometimes I'll just go to people because they have lyrical content where it's like more syllabic and like their syllables just fit in more. And I'm like looking for a word. So, but yeah, I love lyrics. And
I never really paid attention to lyrics.
yeah, which is so fascinating to me that some people just don't.
I'm more like Snare for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
But I mean, yeah, I don't care.
Well, because death metal, for the most part, too, is very much like lyrics are secondary.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you're lucky if you get someone who really cares about lyrics. Otherwise, it's just like, we're going to write about the gnarliest shit ever because it's got to have extreme subject matter for extreme music. And you're like...
I'd say for my band, I want the band to have cool lyrics. That's why I always work with vocalists who are both good and write good lyrics.
With that being said...
Oh, my God.
I feel like a lot of
let him knock the drink over on the computer.
in progressive metal has more emphasis on the lyrical content, and that's why I'm so drawn to a lot
Cynic?
of progressive. Cynic.
Cynic's lyrics are
Just
dope.
all progressive metal. If bands land in the progressive territory, they're talking about cool shit.
Yeah. How's Dream Theater's lyrics? I never really paid attention
They're like
to them.
very, aren't they like...
Story.
Yeah, they're
Nice
storytelling.
Thematic,
Yeah, they're good.
Concept albums.
Yeah, concept albums.
I forgot to say Meshuggah. I love Meshuggah's lyrics.
Oh yeah, Meshuggah's
Same.
lyrics and also the lyrics
Hawk.
for Soul Niger. Have you
Also
heard Soul
really
Niger Within? It's
No.
Frederick Thorndahl is the guitar player of Meshuggah.
Okay.
And
The lead.
he's the lead guitar player. He's responsible for all of this, not all of it, many of the solos and sick riffs that you're hearing. So he's got this solo project called Frederick Thorndahl's Special Defects, Soul Niger Within. We talk about it literally all the time because we fucking love that record. But it's the lyrical content. It's all about it's all about aliens.
It's really cool.
That's the easiest way to put it.
There's even like some non-duality lyrics on there.
Absolutely.
If you like
Crazy
Meshuggah, you'll like the guitar player from
spiritual
Meshuggah's other
concepts.
projects.
You'll really like it, and it's so the drummer on it is this guy named Morgan Ogren, and he's a jazz drummer. So it's fascinating to hear that in contrast to Thomas
It's more
Hawk's
like,
stuff.
Really?
improvisational drumming,
Nice.
but with like Meshuggah type
Yeah.
riffing. And it's from like 1999.
It's 98.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah, 98. It's super, that's where so much of the influence from our band comes.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of bands these days.
I mean, if you hear this, we've got to show you. We've got it on vinyl and shit. We'll show you. But if you hear that record, you're like, oh my God, I hear like a million. If you're like super in tune with metal, you're like, oh my God, I hear where so many of these metal bands
From their
ripped off.
inspiration.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, that's just Frederick Thorndal in general.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
Meshuggah too. Yeah.
Yeah, Meshuggah.
100%.
Yeah.
Martine, the other guitar player, has written some of the most. You'd be surprised if you like. I found this thing on the internet that actually broke down each song and who wrote like what riffs. And the other dude has some of the baddest tunes in like Meshuggah's catalog. Like,
Totally. They're like full records where Frederick didn't really write anything, I think. So he's responsible for a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
It's weird too because you can hear it. Like if you follow the evolution of a band, sometimes you can just be like, oh, it doesn't sound like Stephen Carpenter was writing any of this music this time around, you know? Yeah, like and you hear it too, you know?
Totally.
Like
Totally.
I know that Chino wrote that Gore album,
Yeah.
you know? Like and you hear it with other bands. I can't think it off the top of my head, but you guys can please fill those shoes for me if you
Dude, we have
can think of
such a
any.
sick Stephen Carpenter story. Can I tell you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so Deftones was taking Animals as Leaders on tour in Europe when Naveen was still in Animals as Leaders, right? So Stefan, when we lived in LA, invited all of us over to his house to have a barbecue. And so he lived in like this guest house of this amazing mansion. It was crazy. Like he lived in, it was such a beautiful spot. And he we
He
went
lived
and,
in like the pool house.
he lived in the pool house,
Yeah.
and we went and hung out with him. And dude, he rolled like the hugest cones of weed. Like I swear the joints were that big, and he was rolling them all day long. And we were just watching atomic bomb videos all day long. Like, that's all we were watching. Yeah. And then he barbecued. And what I remember from the barbecue is that he made the fucking best like mushrooms that I've ever eaten in my entire life. All at Stephen Carpenter's.
also-
That hits because
dope.
Atomic Bomb was the first band I ever saw live.
That does
Oh,
hit.
yeah. Mushroom.
Atomic bombs
Mushroom
do hit.
cloud.
Yeah.
Who are you guys blowing? Mushroom clouds?
And then he was also kind of talking about some of the stuff that we were. He was like, the universe brought us all here together today.
He seemed
Yeah.
like a cool ass.
And we were
dude.
like,
Oh, he
damn,
was
what a
awesome.
sick dude.
He was awesome.
Oh my God.
He was awesome.
Yeah,
It's crazy how much havoc this kitten can
I know.
It's just like insane.
Yeah, he's a
He's like
Yeah,
he's a Sour Patch Cat. He's a lover, and then he's a
Dude,
He wants to
he's
tear some shit up, and then he wants
seriously-
Levins, and he wants to tear some shit
I was
up.
telling Harrison this for like he'll go into a room and do something and you're like, I didn't even know you could figure out to misbehave that way. Like
sometimes
I didn't even know that was a thing I didn't want you to play with.
sometimes we hear our cupboards just like smacking, and it's because he's over there just opening them and going
Yeah.
in them.
It's not a
and hitting
ghost.
them
He
against.
figured
It's
out how
not
to
a
open the
ghost.
cupboards and he goes in there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you don't need to go in there. Like stop.
He's like part ferret.
He looks like a ferret, right?
He is
Little
crazy.
kittens look like ferrets. All right, I guess we've been rolling this podcast for 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's call it a day. We'll go
I
into
think
the
we're
post show. Thank you guys so much for being on the podcast with
Yeah,
us.
thanks
this
for
week.
inviting
having
us.
us.
Thank you guys for the new friendship.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
By the
Nice.
way, actually, that we're out here
100%,
and
man.
like you guys' connection with Chance. Like I'm very grateful for our relationship.
Me too.
Same.
And
Yeah, I mean, if
thanks for
you're-
having us over
once you
too.
were, cool with Chance, I was like, well, we got another
Yeah,
brother.
Chance is one of our main boys.
I love you
So,
guys.
We
Yeah,
love
man,
you.
love you
Sincerely.
too. Well,
Sincerely.
I'm glad you're one of the few repeat guests on here. And
Wow.
Cameren, it was fucking great to have you, man.
Yeah, I'm sure that you guys
Thanks
will
for
be
having
on
us.
again.
And I
Thanks
think,
for
I
having
think periodically
On
we'll have
God.
you guys on here. You live so close.
Why not?
All right, everyone, have a great week out there. We fucking love you.
See you next week,
See you
motherfuckers.
next week.
Or on the post show.
Yeah,
Peace.
much love.
See ya, Radio Land.